Hey, you're here. Anyway, thanks for being around. Thanks for being here. If you're here, we are going to attempt to do the All Black Everything roundtable today. We'll see what happens. Um, things have been weird with this programming for a bit, but yeah, we'll see what happens today. I will remain optimistic. Um, looks like we got two people. We'll see how many we have later on, but
I mean, that might be unique to her, but that's because Biden's not black.
That may be a big portion of it.
So, I mean, that's the only part. I mean, we can't accuse Biden of not claiming to be black, right? Like, because he never claimed to be black. You know what I mean? So that's not even a topic of conversation. And I think there's a bit of gaslighting, I think, on both sides, like regarding her race, like in the sense that some people will try to make the claim that, hey, she's black, which she is. But then there has been, I would say, within the diaspora, like a conversation about delineation, and to be reductive and just say she's black, when we know that there's like a specific lineage that we're referring to that she obviously doesn't fall under, I feel like is reductive. But I think the other side is the people of the lineage are being reductive when they start making statements like she's not black, which of course is like, no, she's clearly black. Well, no, she's not our lineage. And it's like, okay, but you can be black and not our lineage. Nah, black American means only our lineage. And it's like, wait a minute. And so I think there's like both sides are being reductive at times. But I do not believe she's being, you can't show me besides the race question, because that's a specific thing that applies to her, you can't show me any political scrutiny that is applied to her that wasn't also applied to Biden.
um,
You're
fanatic.
frozen as well.
Yeah, frozen. Yeah, I wanted to tell you, you're.
Let me fix that.
Take your time.
Oh, I know why. I know what I gotta do. Let me do this. I'm gonna start virtual camera.
Close Pornhub.
Yeah, that'll do it. Deactivate.
Right, we'll take your time with that. Nice to see you, Water Kai.
Good to see you.
How do you question? How do you manage your? Actually, this might be a question for both of you. Like in terms of your hair, right? What do you what do you do? And clean it up.
Oh, I have one of those hand shavers, so I just pretty much
That you
shave it
rub.
clean.
Yeah, I saw those.
Quick and easy.
They look really good. Yeah.
And it also like covers all the hair right here, stuff on the side, gets it as low as I can. Because I also have an edger, so like I use an edger to like line up the beard and everything, but
yeah,
that gets most of the work done.
Gillette 3.
Gillette 3.
That's
okay.
Gillette 3. You could buy a bunch of them at Costco. I think I paid like $30 or something for like a humongous pack at Costco, and that thing has lasted me multiple years. Because I only use it for my head.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess I'd be. Oh, I guess I wouldn't be that nervous if I had to do it with a Gillette. It just seems like more involved than just having, like what he was doing, like the shaver. But like you get a close cut though, right? You get it exactly as low as you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just one question though about the hand shaver you use, Water Kai. Does it have different levels or does it always like the same level? Like
no, it's just skin.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
Yeah, I've been shaving it for a hot minute, so I haven't had any need for different levels. I have a different one for like my beard, depending on how long or short I want the beard to be. So I have something for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all
And
good,
all
fanatic.
better.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's.
I feel like every time I get into a conversation, I get pissed, and I'm like, why the freak did I do this? But today's gonna be different, though. I believe it. I'm gonna convince myself of it.
What's the definition of insanity again?
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, it's doing what Fanatic does. I just know somebody gonna start interrupting like a retard, and I'm not gonna be able to get my words out, and it's gonna annoy the freak out of me.
I basically can't send Fanatic another invite until like I know his brain has reset.
That's it. I need time off, and it's like, you know what? It ain't gonna be that bad. That's literally it.
Well, it might not be a problem. Today, everyone, most of the participants are like maybes. So whether they'll actually be here, there'll be well, we'll see. So you might not actually have much competition here.
Yeah. If it's with Lethe, we'll just have an interesting conversation. It'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great person to have a conversation with. Actually, he's fantastic.
Yep.
All right, so
I wasn't being sarcastic at all. I meant that.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah. He's great.
I had to say it.
But until till they manage to show up, if they show up, we'll wait for like a half hour or so, and then we'll.
I didn't want to spoil the conversation because we were already into it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll retread the water. It's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, the people who said they'd be here, that said they'd probably be here for the second topic. So you know that we can we're on for that, and they wanted to talk about the Kamala thing. So let's hold off on that one. But I'm sure we can come up with something else to discuss while we're waiting for that.
Yeah.
Been really interesting lately.
Y'all
Did you see that Kroger actually admitted to price gouging in their stores?
No. Can you give me that?
Yeah, let me pull that up. Because I've been saying this for a hot minute. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like, I had that argument. I had the argument just last week with Lactoid. Talking about this. Like, this isn't the first store to admit that they were price fixing. They were price gouging. Oh fuck me.
Target and Walmart.
Sorry, Razor. I didn't include you in the. That's my fault, friend.
I've been having to argue with people for months that the prices that we're dealing with are artificially inflated on top of the inflation that we're dealing with. And they just want to say, well, no, that can't be the case. It's just Bidenomics. And I'm like, y'all are tripping. Like,
it just doesn't make sense.
The supply chain issue is virtually over. How can it still be like this? You know for damn sure they are price gouging.
Fanatic, there is like compilations of companies doing their quarterly earnings calls, right? Talking about exactly this. I provided that to like Lactrid in our discussion. Like they're saying, oh yeah, we're just like there is the regular price inflation, right? Which some of them may have experienced, not all of them, during that time. And then they're like, well, we're just gonna go beyond. Our customers basically are expecting prices to go up, so let's just raise our prices, whether it's beyond our costs or whatever. So
go beyond plus ultra.
I'm gonna tell you, we know that it's price gouging and not inflation because of the fact that they're making record profits. Inflation means that the cost of production has increased, and so the price has to go up to match the cost of production to maintain equilibrium. If your equilibrium is no longer being maintained and you're making more profit, then that's not inflation, that's gouging. If the price of goods rises, but the cost of goods does not rise, that's inflation. I mean, that's gouging. That's not inflation. So when we get into a war with Russia, and so people say the price of oil is going. I mean, I'm sorry, when Ukraine war happens, and we're putting in all this money into Ukraine, and so a large part of the world's oil supply drops because they had been buying from Russia, and then we raise our oil prices when the vast majority of our oil is locally produced. Like we raise our gas prices when the vast majority of our oil is locally produced. You can't make that make sense, but they did it. And they're literally turning the highest profits that they've ever turned in the history of them existing. And we're calling that inflation. It pisses me off. I hate small-brained people.
Well, that's kind of the problem of it, is that people keep saying, seeing that they're saying the inflation has gone down, but they're not seeing the cost of their goods go down. So they're just saying the news is a liar. Whoever's telling us inflation is going down is a liar because my egg still costs, my fast food still costs X. They're not understanding that if you're seeing this, yet you're not seeing the prices going down, they're being cheated.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't acknowledge who's doing that work to them. They just
Right.
want to blame it on the government, blame it on the states, blame it on whoever else. They won't do their due diligence to understand the difference.
Right. And then
there was a video I saw not too long ago by more perfect unions, where they went to go speak to the median voters down in Kansas, and the words that the that the voters that said people had stated was, a lot of them are just angry and they want someone to blame. So this is definitely a thing where they don't want to listen to what the actual issue is. They just want someone to blame. So having this price gouging shit actually happening, but then so having someone say, no, it's a lie, it's actually these people doing it. It's like, oh, you just gave me someone to blame there, but it's the wrong person.
Hey,
Someone just got to them first, basically.
Right back.
Fanatic. If you look in our group chat, I put two links. The first link is to that compilation that I was referring to. You can actually hear the CEOs actually say it. They weren't hiding it. They were just doing this in public, right? This is during quarterly earnings calls where like reporters listen to it all the time. This was just like known. But we were gaslighted as to saying this wasn't happening. And then the second one is a different it's an article like that goes into this. I think it's a New York Times article or something like that. And it goes in depth in it.
Okay, I'm gonna listen for 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Yeah, so like even with the fast food, like living in California, I have an awesome place called In-N-Out Burger here in California. They already pay their workers over $20 before the minimum wage hike came up. Then I think I went from being like $5.50 for a double cheeseburger to $5.90 for a double cheeseburger. And they also increased their workers' wages, which is awesome. But then you see McDonald's had already raised their prices before the $20 minimum wage kicked in and then continued raising their costs. So a Big Mac at McDonald's is over $6, costs more than a fresh, wonderful double at In-N-Out. So you already know when you look at the market share that the executives on the McDonald's board are getting, they post record profits all the way through the pandemic. You know they're gouging you on that alone. So then if you take that to the supermarket, it's the same issue. So fast food or supermarket, you're still losing. And they're still making money hand over fist. What's good, Solus?
What's up?
What up, my man? Glad to have you here.
Huh. Wait.
Yeah, I'm listening to this here. Yeah, they're just using inflation to continue to make more profits because when the inflation went down, they were still making more money. So why bring the prices down? Oh, this is disgusting to listen to.
Yeah. It is unfortunate. And to audience, we're gonna see if we're gonna wait a little bit longer to see if another person pops up. We're waiting on.
It's not just about the price increases. How much of the price increase are you going to take? They're trying to see if they can break the consumer. Like, how far can we push before these people break? This is, yeah, no.
Yep, it's sick. I mean, but When you say that we were got like gaslit and stuff, I mean, who was denying that though? Because I never really encountered people that I ever used like anytime I've made the claim that we're not dealing with inflation, that we're dealing with gouging because the price, I mean, their profits are higher than they've ever been. I've never had anyone push back against that. Have you encountered people pushing back against that?
Oh, in my own panels, people push back against that. Most of my family, so the people I speak to in real life, tend to be conservatives because I speak mostly to family. They also.
So wait, what? So then, when they push back, what is their answer for how they are making more profits than they've ever made? What's their answer to that?
They don't have an answer for that, and that's where I get some leeway in the conversation. But for the most part, they still blame it on Bidenomics. Like that's always going to be the answer. I just had that conversation yesterday.
Yep. See, and this is one of those things, man. And again, I'm not trying to suck myself, but I do believe I'm a particularly good debater, and I feel like that's one of those situations where the way I tend to argue and debate is to put things into an undebatable terms to where it's no longer an argument or a debate, but a lesson where it's like, hey, like we can explain it. If the cost of goods hasn't gone up and you know what I mean? Like the way I explained it earlier. If the cost of goods haven't gone up, but the price of goods have, then that's not inflation. That's gouging, right? So, and then a lot of times people might struggle with things like that. So then you just stop there, okay? If everything is exactly the same and someone just decides to raise the price because they just want to raise the price, what's the economic term for that, right? And now at this point, we're not arguing your opinion. I'm not arguing how you feel about it. I'm not arguing how it impacts consumers. I'm not arguing who's responsible. I'm simply asking what's the definition, what's the term. And if they say it's inflation, then you can pull up the definition of inflation and say, see, no, this is not economics. You don't understand economics. You're wrong. But if you don't like break it down to the undebatable terms, and yeah, you're going to keep talking past each other because everyone's been like interchanging inflation with gouging forever, and a lot of people don't even understand the difference and don't know the basics of economics. But I don't leave a lot of room for opinions because I don't care about your opinion. I just know here's the facts, and the facts are it's not inflation. It's gouging.
So I'm remember I agree with you on pretty much everything here, but I'd be careful with the term price gouging because there isn't like a set definition of that, right? There isn't this is this falls within the exact definition of price gouging. So it's just at some point it seems like a company is raising the price of its goods beyond reasonable cost inflation. So look that up. Just look it up yourself, and he's it's not a set thing. So that might trip you up in a conversation.
Price gouging, an act or instance of charging customers too high a price for goods or services, especially when demand is high and supplies are limited.
Yeah. But exactly. So the question is, if we're debating, right, would be okay. At what point is it price gouging? Right? Is it 10% inflation? Is it 20% or anything like that? There isn't a set term. This is at this point price gouging has occurred.
Yeah, if they're making over 10%, if it's 12%, is it gouging? Is it 15%?
Well, here's the deal. If the cost of the goods haven't gone up, but you're increasing the prices, it is by definition not inflation.
Yeah. Well,
if you don't want to use the phrase price gouging, because a lot of times people get hung up on definitions, which I don't. Then it's this. It's not inflation. We can get to that part. And if it's not inflation, right?
Lactoid. Well, no. Lactoid
I wouldn't have this argument with Lactoid because Lactoid is not an intelligent person and he's not honest.
I disagree with you there.
But
I'll just say that. He said all of this would be inflation, right? So the price, what we would define as price gouging, you would include as a natural part of inflation. It's part of the inflationary process. Is that companies will see
a lack of understanding of economics. So then I would ask him, what's the distinction between price gouging and inflation? Because they're two different economic
terms. He'd say there's no distinction. I believe that's what he was saying.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to proprietary definitions, but I would also limit my conversations to intelligent people.
I tend to point out that it's an artificial price increase, much like the housing market that we deal with in California. These
Hmm.
prices are set artificially. There is no parameter by which they're setting these prices. They know what they can get away with, and that's what they're doing. And like, I think the primary thing that people would say when I bring it up in fast food is that the franchisees are on very slim margins in regards to their restaurants. And I'm like, that's because corporate is sucking up all the money. That's where the profits are going, and that's where the gouging is coming from. They're also artificially wringing out their franchisees while they're doing this. So
Yeah,
nobody's winning but the executives.
yeah. It's funny we were just talking. I was talking to my boy Knives earlier today, and he was explaining to me that there was an issue when it came to what do you call it? Um, so McDonald's, their CEO basically I don't know, so whatever. They put out a statement when people were complaining about the prices, where they basically said um, that the prices are already like kind of marked at a level that takes into consideration the average cost. I'm sorry, the repeat customers who use the app and therefore get savings. And so they were saying that that's being like accounted for, the reason why they're adjusting their prices higher because of all the deals and stuff you get if you're a repeat customer, which of course is unfair to the people who don't consume regularly enough to use the apps to become rewards members at a high enough level to actually offset the cost that they're changing it to. I don't know how honest that is, if that truly is within their mentality, but I can tell you at Del Taco, I'm almost at the highest level, bro, because that's like uh our McDonald's out here is not 24 hours. Our Del Taco is 24 hours. We have a Carl's Jr. that's 24 hours, but it's really far.
Did
And
So
expensive.
yeah, super expensive. So then it's like a lot of times I end up going anytime if you catch me at like 3 in the morning and I'm going to go make a food run because I'm like way out in my city.
Mm.
So if I'm doing that, then that means it's like okay, I'm gonna drive to the Del Taco, which is like 2 miles away, so about 5 minutes, as opposed to like driving 15 minutes. And so it's like that's what I end up doing. And it's like, man, I've been doing this so long, I might as well get on their rewards program. But then I think it's psychologically manipulative because when you start looking at how much more you need in order to get to the next level, you start considering that when you're considering food. And now they've gamified it to where you feel like I need to eat here more. So then, of course, now you're doing that, and then you're also considering, well, if I get to the next level, I generate more funds by doing this, and then that way, like I get free stuff. And so then, yeah, as a result of that, I want to eat there, and I don't want to eat other places. So they've pretty much got me as a loyal customer now because of these apps and the gamifications. It's like,
So to the apps, there's a thing that happened. I want to say it was maybe 6, 7 months ago because I was using all these apps to eat as cheap as possible because I was just after moving. I didn't have a lot of cash. So I had
yeah.
McDonald's app, all these other things. All of a sudden, I get a notification about a new agreement. Come to find out, McDonald's added a non arbitration agreement into just using the app. So as soon as you use the app, you have opted in. This was not brought to most people's attention. You had to be paying attention. So on top of that, with the app, you see all the deals that they're putting out. You know they aren't necessarily losing money and they're selling the food at the price it should be, but they're giving you certain coupons along the way and then slowly removing them once they've got you ingrained in using their app to buy food. So
mm,
where you're like, well, there's no deal today, but this is convenient, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Starbucks especially does this, where they'll give you like triple stars every other day. Then all of a sudden it's triple stars once a week. Then all of a sudden you're not getting any deals. So I think this is another way that they're trying to get people hooked back into buying their food and lying to us along the way.
It goes even beyond that because you know the most valuable thing is like big data, right? So these apps want to be on your phone, they want to be collecting a lot of information about your habits, and then they want to be collating that data with many people like you, and that is extremely valuable, right? That's when then you'll have the situation where they talk about dynamic pricing, and hey, well, we want to be able to change the price of items, right? Like basically as surge pricing, is what they're saying, right? Basically surge pricing. Like more people are showing up. We want like our boards to be electronic. within the different franchises, so that when there's a spike, we want to be able to change it. That was massive pushback on that, but like, and the companies were surprised, like, what, you don't like it to be charged more for the same thing at different times? You're not a fan of this? They're like, Wendy's was surprised, McDonald's they were surprised. But they are like vacuuming this data up, and they are selling the data. And then they're finding other ways, like you guys, what Fanatic was saying, to gamify the way that you use these apps, right? And that you consume food, so that it encourages you, like, okay, well, I might get a tiny reward from this one app, so I'll go back there. All of a sudden, I've made a purchase I wouldn't have made otherwise. That way, so it's like in all kinds of ways they're getting you.
Yeah.
In a lot of instances, they'll like have a deal where if you get 2 burritos, you only need 1 burrito, but it's
Yep.
2 for $2 more. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get these 2 burritos. It's insane.
Yeah. Even Del Taco right now, because of the level I'm at, no matter what, every morning I can get a free iced coffee, right? And it's like I've never ever gone and gotten an iced coffee and not gotten the rest of the breakfast. It's literally never happened. And I'm like, you niggas, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's times where I want to wake up early so that, like especially on Sundays when I got church, you know, it's like I want to wake up early enough so that I can go to Del Taco before I get to the church. That way I won't be falling asleep in church, because I fall asleep in church almost every Sunday. And if I don't fall asleep in the first church, I'm falling asleep in the second church. 1,000,000,000%. I will fall asleep in one of them. And it's like, I can go get
That's
this
why I
coffee.
stopped going to church. I just fall asleep in my bed.
But my thought process is like, if I want to do that, and I just realize like how much that consumes like a bunch of my brain, the idea of like go to sleep early so I can wake up and go to get this breakfast. Well, I would never consider getting that breakfast any other way. But it's like, well, I get a free coffee, but if I want the free coffee, I can get a breakfast too. It's nonsense. I'm telling you, it's all manipulation. So when my mother, just recently, I was telling her about it, and I was telling her about like how I save a bunch of money on the app, and she's like, they have apps. I'm like, oh mom, all of them do. And then I instantly regretted it. I do not want my mother to get one of these apps, because whenever I think of manipulation, I think manipulation works way more on the elderly than it does on, you know, people our age. I think, and so I would say my mom, you know, she's like 70. So it's like, yeah, I don't want her feeling like she needs to go to these stupid apps because they're like encouraging her so she can get to the rewards, but you're spending way more. I don't want her. I don't want my mom being gamed up. So it's like, I don't know. But I mean, I know that I'm being gamed up. And as much as I try to keep myself aware and say like, nah, I'm, you know, I was already going to eat here, which I was. I ain't going to, like, anyone can tell you I've been doing Del Taco for years. I talk about it like a drug. So like they know, but it's like, I do know for sure there's plenty of times where I would want to eat something else. I would want variety, but then I'm willing to stomach eating the same thing because I just know, oh, I'm going to save some money this way.
Yeah. Well, it's even worse on top of that. There's this is again going back to big data and the things that they do to once they get you in an ecosystem, and I guess Mordecai was basically touching on this, right? Taking features away basically, and then like trying to sell them back to you, right? So like there's this happening in lots of areas, but like a big place is happening is in the car sphere, right? In the car market, now like you'll have a car that will have a feature, right? Now the way it used to work is that like I'm ordering a car, right? It's this make and model, and then I want these certain features, these list of features, right? So I order them in, and they'll send a car with those features built in. Right? So that means they're basically custom making that car, you know, like within the confines of the model. But now they're changing that up. Now they'll have those features built in. Now they're trying to have like one model of car, one version of the car, right? So you have all those features in, but to activate them, well, now you got to pay a subscription service, right? So they'll have subscription services for things like ultra bright lights, you know. They'll have subscription service for the heating of the seats, right? Like you can pay extra to do that. It's already in the car, right? The obviously the hardware is there, and it's already in the car, but they want you to pay for that, and then they want you to
Real set
pay to
microtransactions on real life.
resale. Yeah, no, microtransactions. Yeah, but then they also want to pay you to resale. Now, again, you saw this in the video game industry because they wanted to do that too, right? So that if you're handing your card to someone else, they got to pay to activate it because all these cards are connected to the internet, right? This is how they're doing this for all these features. To fully activate the car, well, they got to pay Honda or whatever the fuck for this. There's a great YouTuber called Louis Rossman, who like he goes on rants about these things. And if you want to find out more information, like he's like talked about this extensively. I'll see if I can get a link for you guys. But yeah, it's really bad. And then again, selling the data. There was a report done by like McKinsey, like that, shady ass company McKinsey. But they talked about like how like one of the biggest growth centers within the car industry is big data, because all of these cars have sensors in them, right? They're collecting an incredible amount of information, far more than you think. They're gathering, and then they're collating this and they are selling it. So car companies are making a lot of money off of that. And to do that, right? To do that, when you're buying the car, like they give you a whole list of stuff like you have to agree to, right? But it's like, why should I have to agree to this to like buy a car, right? Like, why should I agree? Like the sometimes you'll have ability to opt out, sometimes not. And even when you do, right, like they'll tie like basic services to their data collection thing. So if you want this like basic thing, like to be able to like use like their dashboard, right, like all the features of the dashboard, well we're gonna need some data here. So this is the thing that's been happening. It's disgusting.
It is absolutely disgusting, and that kind of stuff pisses me off. But what it really boils down to is just people's willingness to support it, people's willingness to do it. So yeah, like the thing you were talking about, like the heated seats thing. I think it was like BMW. Like they have one of their cars that has heated seats, and in order to get the heated seats, you have to pay a monthly subscription. And with the Tesla for the auto driving feature. So like that's a data driven thing, or it's a software thing that they can just turn on or off. Every car has the capacity. All of the newer ones got
the voice
capacity.
of the innovation.
It's just whether you paid for it to be able to do it or not. A dude sold his Tesla to another person. The new driver didn't pay for the thing. So then Tesla was like, "Oh, you don't have the ability to do this." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I bought it from someone who already paid for it." It's like, "No, you personally have to pay for it." So then they turned it off unless he decided to pay for it. Mind-boggling. Another really insane thing was, I remember they were talking about the fact that somebody got hurt at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And they wanted to sue them, and them idiots had to say, "Nah, you signed up for Disney Plus, and that automatically makes you have to agree to like an arbitration agreement, so you can't sue us." I said, in what universe? It was in the fine print. Mind blown. I got to see if that holds up in court.
Keep in mind that story is that he signed up for Disney Plus years ago in the free trial, and that's what they got him on.
Even a free trial.
Yeah. And there's no way. So I sent you that Louis Rossman video channel. Check it out because he talks about this stuff in depth. Like that there's all legal scholars post about it, and I haven't seen any other ones that would say differently, right? Calling that like an absolute like legal travesty. So basically saying that like you sign up for Disney Plus, a separate service, right? Like a clearly what you're signing up for is streaming delivery, right? And then you're saying, okay, well, for any damages maybe to your TV or whatever the fuck, right? That happened. Then we're gonna go to arbitration, okay, right? But to say that like signing that contract by clicking okay, right, applies to everything that Disney has ever done, right? Basically, now you're taking your life into your hands if you're going to Disney parks, right? You sign up for Disney Plus, so now you can't sue us, right? Yeah, that's like crazy. Wild. Like there's no way that stands up in court. I think it's just like one of those things where like a lawyers are like, well, why don't we just try it and see what happens?
Yeah, lawyers are lawyering. I don't believe that can stand up. I don't. If it does, It's gonna blow my mind. But I mean, we are in crony capitalism, and I appreciate Music Man. He said earlier that capitalism is evil in its current form. I was gonna be annoyed until he said in its current form, and I'm 1,000,000,000% on board with. I think this crony capitalism that we're living under, the corporations have too much say. The politicians have been bought and paid for, and it's nonsense. I think we're living in some nonsense. I think half of what's happening, as far as like all the jobs going going overseas, the corporate welfare, the big money in politics, these people are doing. I think it's absolutely insane. I think all the Jews, their AI pack. I think it's all too much. I just wanted to say that out
Just
loud.
had
See
to
how
slide
AI
AI pack.
I had to slide that in there.
God damn it.
No, like as you speak to the corporate welfare, I look at Walmart now as having electronic price tags that they can change the price at any given point.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at what kind of hours their employees get, what kind of benefits their employees get, ultimately they fall under the poverty line and also get welfare to subsidize their living standards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
these corporations are basically taking our taxes to pay employees and then gouge us when we go to purchase from them.
What if I told you
They want to get as much money as possible, including the money you're getting from your benefits.
What if I told
Won't
you
pay you.
Walmart was also getting a check from the government simply for hiring welfare recipients?
Yeah.
That they created. Oh, that's
Now,
wild.
easiest solution in the world. Y'all ready for it? Easiest solution in the world. In order to get the money, like in order to get the whatever, you have to give people 40 hours a week. Easiest solution in the world. Now, the hard part about that solution is that who do you get to put that in law? Because all the niggas that you would need to put that in law have been bought and paid for. The politicians have been bought and paid for. Who's going? You're not taking that to the floor. You're not doing it.
Shades are back.
It frustrates me, man. I hate it.
I mean, not everybody wants 40 hours, but for the people that do want 40 hours and can't get it based on whatever reasons they give them that we can't give you hours like this, yeah, you should be able to get 40 hours if you're capable of working 40 hours at your job.
The majority of people want 40 hours. The majority.
I believe they do.
I do believe there's a great amount of people who want the work week to be shortened and want it to become 4 days a week, 32 hours. But in as much as the work week is 40 hours, the vast majority of workers want to be able to get full-time employment. Like the vast majority. And Walmart is just screwing them by not giving them enough and having the hours be varied so that you can't even go to school and stuff while you're doing it. Well, they tell you can, but they give you so many hours in such awkward places that you can't truly go to school while you're still on welfare, and they're getting a check for hiring you while you're on welfare. It's crazy. I hate Walmart. They gotta go.
Let's.
I mean, I still shop there though. You know what I mean? Like I have no choice. That ain't my fight. I don't have the funds to fight that fight. But I feel like everyone who can avoid it, we should. You shouldn't be going to no Walmart.
I do actively avoid going to Walmart. I I
go to
shop
Target
there. I go to end up going to Target. Or what's that place? The good one. It's a box store. Pays high salaries.
Costco?
Costco.
Costco's good.
It's just superior. It's just superior in
It's
every
just
way.
superior. In
And
every
they
way.
do better by their They do better by their employees. They do some of the scamming too. They don't give
Aren't they
everyone
under
40
the
hours a
same
week.
people,
By
though?
the way, no, they're not. They are literally not the same company at all. And yeah, their benefits are better. Again, not everyone gets their benefits because I think that's one of the like myths. People always say like, oh, Costco does whatever, and a decent amount of people in Costco are in the same Walmart loop where they don't give them the full 40 hours. They'll put you just underneath so that you don't qualify for their benefits. They do that still sometimes. Again, not everyone, but like to the newer employees, it takes a while before they'll finally hire you one to do. I mean, they'll finally give you the 40 hours. But with that being said, they definitely have a higher rate than Walmart does by a lot. They pay more and default than Walmart does by a lot, and their benefits are better. So like everything about Costco is just better. And then nigga, like I said, buying in bulk. I'm a single person, okay? I bought that razor collection. I have been shaving my head with them razors. I'm not even exaggerating. Over 2 years. Over 2 years,
Damn.
I've just been using that same because it's just so they last, and then it's like you got so many of them that I've gone through half now, and I shave my head regularly. when I'm not depressed. If not in the best of mood, you're gonna see me with a hat on.
let's get started. Solus, we had some noise coming from your end. So I had to server mute you. I'll unserver mute you now. But let's get started. Hopefully we'll have a few people here. There are others who should show up. It's just they've got
be right back.
other commitments. So hopefully they'll be here by the second topic. But anyway, thanks all for being here. This is All Black Everything, which we have Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. We haven't done this in a while. But I'm happy to be here with these group of individuals. Really happy to have them. Lila Water Kai, thanks for being here, friend. How are you?
Thanks for the invite. Glad to be here. It's finally starting to cool down in California, even though I can't complain compared to the rest of the United States. We're doing all right. Glad to be here.
Cool. Fanatic, thank you for stopping by, friend. It was very happy to see you.
Yep, I'm excited. I'm just hoping everybody can be decent enough to have actual conversations and not interrupt me the entire time, so I don't have to turn up. We can actually have some good content.
I mean, through Christ, anything can happen, right? So
we can dream.
Christ is crazy.
Solus, I'm ecstatic to have Solus every time. I'm always happy to have Solus around. He's a fantastic guest. How are you, friend?
I am surviving. It is hot as hell in the city of Chicago. We is fucking frying in this bitch. But I've been doing good. I'm doing great, actually. Happy to see y'all.
The greatest investment ever had is central air conditioning. It's just amazing. I can't go back. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like, I remember cooking before, right? Before central air came into my life. I remember cooking at this time of year. But now it's just whatever I want. It's beautiful.
Until you get that $300-400 bill at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Bruh, we had to be like 435 this month. Fuck.
Solus, right? One day my man Solus is gonna blow up in the music industry. It's gonna happen. One of the first investments you gotta make, essential air. I'm telling you, of course, you're gonna blow up, but you're probably not gonna be like a millionaire right off the bat, right? So you're gonna have to make a decision. What am I gonna do, right, with this first fat check, right? Central air.
Central air.
Central air was the first investment.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you won't regret it. You won't regret it.
They'll make a great Nardwar interview. They'd be like, "Yo, man, what was the first thing you bought?" I mean, it was hot as hell at the studio, so we bought central air. Told everybody else back in the hood, "Fuck them." You know what I'm saying? They'll figure it out later. But we had to get our priorities straight.
Don't worry, we funded the schools afterwards, but we had central air first.
My God, you are a recording
right,
artist.
for a little bit, all right? Maybe even throw you $10, for the privileges of hearing your music and chilling out, right, during the summer days. I'm telling you, it's a growth opportunity. Central air, I'm telling you.
Solus, why are you using that treble-filled mic when you got recording mic equipment?
Because this shit works only when I record. Discord makes this sound fucking horrible every single time I use it. It has never worked. Whenever I record, I sound perfectly fine. My voice is crisp. It hits every high, low, and mid I need it to. But when I turn it on Discord, it just shits itself. And I'm not fighting with it today. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Yeah, it's really bad. The struggle has been real ever since I've known Solus. Yeah, it's not good.
Got no choice.
Last but not least, last but the most weird, our friend Razor is here. Thanks for being here, Razor. It's nice to see you again.
What up? I don't know why I was with Lethe yesterday. I just decided to do this, and it looked fun. It looked cool to me, so I just did it anyway. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it again. Fucking show off. Represent my weirdness. I'm willing to show that I'm better than every single Republican in the goddamn country because I'm willing to embrace my weirdness. Y'all fuckers are just weird.
Their weirdness is different. It's a whole different
You
kind
know
of weird.
what?
I know.
I feel like is what you're doing is less weird. The cat ear is kind of. Y'all don't think you can go no further than that. That's about it. That's where it. That's the.
Ancom yesterday said spider cat thing. I was like, perfect.
Well, I mean,
Nah,
you haven't seen our friend Razor in a wig in a while. But
Oh yeah, fuck. Oh, you forgot
yeah,
about that.
got out the
Yeah,
wigs.
I just like got my hair cut to where I can start doing the wig again, and I was thinking of putting it on tonight, but I was like, nah.
Wait,
See,
you
if
cut,
it
you
just
cut
got
your hair to
home.
be able to wear a wig?
Yes, the only reason I ever cut my hair is in order to wear my wig. Yes, I don't like my hair is either always in a big poof, in cornrows, or shaved down. And when I have it in cornrows, I have it in cornrows. When I have it in a big poof, it's in a big poof. You've seen me with it. And when it's like this, I either chill like this or I have one of my wigs on. And I'm planning on getting a few more.
Did they even
now that
line your shit up?
they did. It's just I grow my. They did. I
Wait.
just grow my widow's peak back quickly.
Okay.
My hair grows really fast. But I do have plans with now that I am affiliate. I now actually have channel point things going on. I'm planning on setting up channel point system and goals for subs. Where once I reach about 10 subs in a month, I'm gonna head to my local Evangelines and pick up a new wig, and I'll have like a channel point system where
you can pick
forever,
which,
however many
yeah,
points that you can pick which wig you want me to change into.
yeah.
Call it wig out or something like that. I don't know.
If any of the other fellas here had done the sunglasses thing, I'd be worried. But yeah, man, what's going on? Everything okay? Right?
I
If
did
it's
me.
Razor or not, it's cool. It's
That's
makes
me.
perfect
tracks.
Yeah, you don't want to use wig out though, just to be clear, because that's really offensive to the cancer survivors, because when
Oh.
they end up like when they beat it and their hair grows back, they can take their wigs out. So at that point, you're
Oh,
making fun
okay,
of
yeah.
them.
I'll figure something. I'll figure something out for a name because I'm trying. I want like a
He's
fun
fucking
name
with
for
you.
it. But
I was about to. You have a
Stop.
bro. You was a great man. You have a kind heart. I would have stopped. Wouldn't even have gave a fuck. I wouldn't have gave a flying fuck. You a good man, dog.
So go with
I
love you,
notorious.
Razor.
Go with the notorious WIG and just run it that way.
All right, let's
That's too good.
do the first topic. So this is old because it took us a while to get back to doing ABE, but here we are. At the Paris Olympics, competitive breakdancing got its big debut on the international stage. However, the only mention of it in the media was from the poor performance of an Australian white woman competitor. Her routine was so comically bad that it went viral and was mocked around the world. While most had some fun with the situation, some people derided the performance as a mockery of an art form created by Black Americans. Some said it was especially galling that this woman was a professor who had a PhD in breakdancing and hip hop culture, which is apparently a thing you can do. How do you interpret this woman's performance? Is this an example of what happens when white people steal our cultural creations? Should Black Americans want people around the world to engage in their culture? Or should we not take any of this seriously and just enjoy the memes? So I'm sure most of you are aware of it. You saw it. It was this white lady with brown hair or whatever, green outfit, and she out on stage. She did a thing that was vaguely breakdancing, and it was shockingly bad. And so it made rounds on the internet. People had their fun, but other people had like a big problem with this. And like I'm unsure how I feel about this. I'm actually really curious what everyone else thinks. But we'll get started. Lila Warkai.
It annoys me that she got so much publicity for doing something so terrible, because I think it was a great opportunity for the world to showcase what hip hop has done and is given to the world. And that's something like, because I've been in the hip hop sphere for a really long time. So seeing, rap music, breakdancing, graffiti, like the 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 um the three elements of hip hop, or well actually one of the 3 of the 6 elements of hip hop hit other parts of the world, it's an amazing thing. So like when you look in Japan, you got people freestyling, breakdancing, Korea, all these different places. So like I want to say it was in the 1990s that that breakdancing hit Australia, and one of the better artists like King Tech was hosting competitions, and it was a big thing in Australia. So for this person to show up and not represent properly was an insult to the art form and everybody else that cares about this. Where you're seeing people coming from Korea and Japan doing great things at the Olympics, this person decides to goofy kangaroo hop and flail around on the ground like it was something to be done. It's pretty disgusting. So, for all the people that are representing hip hop out there, please ignore this person. I wish he didn't get that level of publicity, and we would have been seeing the people that were actually doing something constructive with the art form.
I want to switch up the order a little bit. Let's go to Razor now.
Yeah, when I saw what was happening, I was laughing hella hard. Just like that's a mockery of an actual dance that that I actually like doing. I do occasionally break dance. I haven't been able to as of late because I never have space or time. But back in elementary school, I actually had a class for hip hop dancing. I got awards from my teachers because I was I was actually like among the better of the kids. I'm not
Were
even
they
kidding.
white?
Huh?
Were they white?
It was a full mixed school. Like there were like I had like 3
No,
black
your
kids.
teachers. No, your teachers. Your teachers. Were your teachers
My
white?
teachers, I had 3 different teachers. I was technically part of the special ed thing, so I had 3 different teachers, and 2 of them were black.
Okay, all right, okay. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. So, yes. Yes, I actually really like breakdancing, hip hop dancing. I just like dancing in general, being able to move my body, and watching that upset me more than I thought it would. Because I thought it like oh nothing really bothers me that much. Like I can use just like at least she had fun. That was my initial thought, and I went, wait, she had fun looking stupid, doing something I like on the grandest stage in the fucking world. I want to throw something. I would say completely ignore her, like laugh at it because it was a completely stupid, goofy fucking looking dance. There were other dancers that I saw there who did amazing work, but again, they're not getting as much publicity because they weren't as stupid. They were actually good. So the internet, of course, is not going to pay attention to those. I'm hoping we can get a little bit more into it, but yeah, I actually really like hip hop dancing and break dancing, and that did upset me when I first saw it.
Thank you. Let's go to Solus.
As somebody that absolutely loves hip hop and this thing that we've managed to scrounge up here, and all the 4 elements from graffiti to rap to b-boying, DJing, the whole nine. I just love the culture of hip hop. I laughed at first. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm an asshole. Like I'm a dickhead, and that shit was the funny. I said on my 2024 bingo sheet, a white woman with a hip hop degree on a motherfucking Olympic stage. Fuck it. Look, man, that was hilarious. I laughed, but on a deeper note, I I was interested because I rap. Like I'm interested into the competitive levels of hip hop, and I don't give a fuck what element you come from. Like I was just wanting to know how the fuck did that happen. That was my first thought. Like what if this is what got here from Australia? What the fuck is breakdancing like that in Australia? Like what is the history of this? Who is co-sign? Like this is like one of the moments where I was wondering who the fuck opened the door for this to get in. I was just confused as to how we even got here. That was my main question of like, how how was this your best?
She wasn't.
Yeah, we can get into that. And finally, Fanatic, please.
Listen, it was absolutely disgraceful, and it was just an element of privilege. The fact that she had the audacity to get there and do that, knowing what her performance was, while believing that she was hip, was just absolutely disgusting and racist. And I think it fell right in line with the rest of the racism at that Paris Olympics, because I think what they did to Sha'Carri Richardson was absolutely heinous. I feel like the way the gymnastics even did Simone Biles with some of the stuff was absolutely heinous. And there was a girl, what's her name? Rebecca Andrade, and however you pronounce her last name, is Brazilian. That broad, she didn't place on one of the events where two of the gymnasts that placed fell off. It was mind-boggling. I feel like they've always displayed the racism. I think Japan had some racism going on at their Olympics. The Olympics have just always been racist, and I think it's disgusting. And I think that participant was racist as freak. It was gross. I don't think that it was like, oh, I'm just giving my own style. I think she was giving her own disrespect, and I can't stand it. And she needs to go.
Okay, let's jump into it.
So, to my understanding, there's some controversy that's come up, and I don't know where it's going to boil down to, in that she started up an organization to get herself into the Olympics and became a qualifier artificially. And I would like to believe this is the case because, like I said, since the 90s, Australia has had a hip hop culture and breakdancing culture. I'm sure there was somebody more qualified to show up at the Olympics for this.
Because I just know the hip hop is a competitive ass sport. And I'm just thinking, like, who did you beat to get this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was who? And I'm not even mad at what Fnatic said, but I was thinking in my mind, right? Somewhere in Australia, there's somebody that gets hip hop that somehow allowed this, and that's the person who I want to put a foot in their ass. This individual just don't seem like they belong here at all. I don't know who the fuck. It's like if a homeless person showed up to a rich people party. Like, who the fuck let this person in here should really be the question. That's what I want to know anyway.
So my understanding, and I didn't like read through this like thoroughly, right? So if I get anything wrong, I do apologize. But my understanding is that organization that Waterkai is talking about was like run by her husband, and that like they did the judging, and then that's how she got on the Olympic team. That's my understanding. But if I'm wrong, I do apologize.
That's right.
So this is where it gets really complicated, because at one point people were saying that she was like she was like the head of the committee and she voted herself in. Then other people were saying that no, it's her parents. And now people are saying that it might be her in-laws, and they were saying that they specifically were over the committee, so that way when she went, the committee got to direct the funds, so then she gets to get paid to go. But then other people are claiming that they just didn't have open auditions, and so by not having open auditions, they like did it at a time when no one else was aware of it. So then so that she could actually just get it without getting it, like without actually earning it, because they do have talented breakdancers, like in Australia and literally every continent. Breakdancing, hip hop in general is just Black American culture is the single greatest influential culture in existence, from our music to our dancing, to our entertaining, to our sports. It's just the most influential culture like in existence, which is why I think everybody goes out of their way to try to take credit for it. Hispanics helped create hip hop, all that nonsense. I think that's why that happens, because it is the most popular culture. One of my boys, Bo, he actually was part of freestyle competitions back in like 2012. And I remember when he first started doing it, and he was like getting good and so on and so forth, and he was like showing me. And then the next year, I believe it was, he won. He got first in like their national beatboxing competition. Dude was a beast. It was insane. I didn't know how good beatboxing got. And that dude showed like, no, I'm actually him. And I was like, dang, I didn't, he literally rose to the very top. I don't know. I feel like they just, maybe the mockery might just be part of their culture. Do y'all remember Renata Glass?
No, who is that?
I'm Renata Glass, and I'm your freestyle dance teacher. She was that woman.
Don't worry. Oh, that meme. I know that meme.
This wouldn't be the section of hip hop that I interact. The only reason I even know that this is a thing is because somebody said breakdancing was in the Olympics, and I was like, what? Hip hop made Olympics? I have to watch this. And I saw this bullshit. And y'all right. The men's shit was not bad. I don't even fuck with nobody said. The men's shit was hard. I fucked with them, right? Even though I felt like we was kind of getting outshined as America. There's another story of another day, but the men's shit was dope. I looked at this and I was just like, I don't know. This is great memes, good jokes.
Hurts her soul though.
That's kind of the thing. Like with every other culture that I deal with that loves hip hop, they seem to hold it in higher reverence than we do in America. So
Mm.
for the Japanese MCs I perform with, they're like racking their brains on bars. They're getting their dance routines together. They're like willing to fight if anybody interrupts them and trying to get whatever they're trying to get done. And then of course they're going to shine when they get on the global stage like that, and they may even outshine America. Even though we are where it came from, we don't seem to hold it in the same level of reverence, which is what made her performance make zero sense. We know for
Well,
a fact there had to be somebody better qualified.
yeah, we kind of
Yeah.
move on, and I feel like that's kind of the case with all a lot of black things. Like we get into something and we do it for a while, and then like the culture continues to evolve as it whatever, and then you get a bunch of other people who aren't black who end up participating in that thing and kind of like holding things to that thing as if it never moved anywhere. A perfect example of this would be like oldies, right? Like oldies from like the 50s and the 60s and like maybe super early 70s. Like we made that music, and obviously it all has its importance and stuff like that. But Latinos, like that is like kind of an emblem of their culture now, where it's like they really really rock with our old 50s, 60s, and 70s oldies, right? And so it's like, I mean, we moved on. Now we have, the '90s era of R&B and New Jack Swing and hip hop and all of that. Like, we've moved on, and then they like kind of stayed there. There are entire black clubs in Japan where people go and like literally listen to hip hop, and the women wear cornrows and the men wear cornrows in their hair. It is just the most influential culture. And just to be clear, by the way, I don't want her to be a representation of what the women were doing, because there were plenty of women who were in those Olympics that were beasts, that were actually really good. They're never going to be men as far as power moves and all the craziness, but they were particularly talented and particularly powerful, like on that Olympic stage. It's just she didn't even belong there. It was a literal mockery. It was just a mockery, and she needed to
I
go.
want to know what, like, I just want to know what's the fallout. I'm not Australia. I want to know what college that gave her that degree. What happened? No, I'm dead ass. That's a conversation. No, I'm so serious, bro. If you gave someone a degree for hip hop and they do that, I feel like there has to be something has to happen as a result of that.
Like that degree has to be purely in books, like in quote unquote books.
But have you even?
have the great
I got
history in it.
So I got a homie that's taking I don't know if it was African American studies class, but something to do with black people. They had a hip hop section. And it was listening off to me. Everything they teacher was teaching him, who's a white man. And I was so fucking mad, bro. I was like, I was hot. I was hot. I was hot. I was hot. They were trying to stay. They was like, yo, man, look, we're going to go listen to Jay-Z today. We're going to talk about a story from rags to riches. And I think the most thing that exemplifies that is 99 Problems. I was like, wait, nigga, what? Who the fuck? I was hot, right? I was just pissed off at this whole fucking course.
What?
But I think that if you know anything about Jay-Z, all right, if I wanted to talk about Jay-Z's rag to riches story, 99 Problems is not top of that list. That's another story for another day. What I'm saying is, I don't think that the people handing out a degree for hip hop sounds weird. It should be a thing, because I'm happy that hip hop has been like something that's actually being taught. Like, it's cool, but as somebody that actually engages in it, I don't think that degrees are being handed out by people that should be handing them out, and evidently not getting received by people that deserve them.
Well, I'm pretty sure she made up the degree too. So
it's a deeper, darker criminal link.
I will love
this whole thing. Like, I think
Again,
she's like under investigation in the country. Go ahead, Razor.
It legit does sound like fake as shit to because like, if anything, if it was real, it must just be some kind of book smart thing, because no street smart or experience in anything. Like, to say you have a degree in hip hop, but then you do whatever the fuck floundering fish that was.
I mean, like, one, I like the idea of hip hop being a scholastic, endeavor, right?
Yeah.
Like, because why not? Actually, it's a huge art form, a global art form, like you guys were all mentioning here. That's a multi-million-dollar industry. I'm not sure if it's a billion-dollar industry. I don't know how big the $1 billion. Excuse me, then. Yeah, sure. $1 billion industry, right? Why wouldn't we have scholastic endeavors, based around that? So that makes sense to me, and I like that. I don't like the idea of it being treated as a joke, right? Because you can get like a PhD or some sort of higher degree in like classical music, and oh, well, that's serious, right? You mean the one from the Europeans? That's serious work? No, like for black music, right? Yes, that's also a serious art form that is worthy of that kind of attention. So I just want to get that out there. That like I think people hear that and like it sounds like a joke, but it really shouldn't. Why should it sound like a joke? I'm hoping that Solus is wrong and that like the people wherever she got this degree, they take it seriously and they are treating it with the respect that it deserves. But I can't at all be sure of that. I think
every single person
yeah.
I know that has a degree in hip hop or they've took a class on it, they're like the nerdy. I hate rap, but Eminem is my favorite rapper ass. Tom McDonald is kind of cool ass. I swear to God, Logic was gonna be the next Eminem ass. Like Hobson was dope back in 2010 ass type of people. I don't. It's not like, and it's so weird because hip hop being scholastic is beautiful, but it's like such a gutter art form for people. It's not like hip hop was made by people that most likely probably wasn't going to school. It's for people that were. It's street music for all intents and purposes, right? And
So literally.
and that's and I'm not mad at it being scholastic, but it's like it's so weird to how to put a culture that comes from this place and put it into what is essentially its antithesis, right? Like I can I could probably teach a class about rapping, right? But bro, I didn't even like school. You know what I'm saying? And so the people, like Fanatic was saying, the people that tend to love it and treat it with this kind of reverence and wanting to make it scholastic, they're not me. They're not they're not motherfuckers that actually really love, live, and breathe it.
I hear you. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of on that end of it, and like when the Kendrick Lamar beef came up, there was a professor that actually was breaking down the bars, the structures, and the analogies and everything that was going through.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking
It was
about.
extremely intelligent, and it was a great thing to see because you could see like the foreshadowing that came in. Like it was like teaching a class on literature. I think
Yeah,
that's amazing because that's what hip hop deserves. Just because we didn't think about that when we were putting that together doesn't mean it doesn't evolve into something bigger in the zeitgeist. So,
yeah.
like when you look at breakdancing is a highly physically intensive act, a sport in itself. You cannot be in bad shape and be a breakdancer. So then you look at other things in the Olympics, like gymnastics, the floor exercises, a lot of like even ice skating and other things. They're taking certain movements from breakdancing and from hip hop, and they're integrating it into this. We may not know that, but once you see it all together, put together, you know that there was an influence there. So I'm glad to see that it made it there, but this one person could be the one to make it so we don't ever get it again.
You
For
think?
sure.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was about to ask y'all think we treat this like basketball? Like y'all remember that one year in the Olympics we got our ass whooped, but then like the fucking Avengers came out. Y'all think like Chris Brown or no? I'm dead ass. Do y'all think that like we can have a moment in hip hop where our best dancers take it seriously and be like, you know what? We sending Chris Brown, we sending Omari, we're sending these people to the Olympics.
We're gonna Space Jam the breakdancing competition.
I'm gonna tell you why not. Because listen, and this is a very unpopular thing for me to say, but Koreans are most likely the best breakdancers. Like back when my brother and like some friends and stuff, they were heavily into it, and I was just tagging along as his little brother. They got into breakdancing, and like it was a big thing, and they were doing really really well. And then we saw the videos of the Koreans. Now they might not have the same style, right? Like, but as far as like power was concerned, I'm saying no one was even freaking close. No one was freaking close. And so then it's like, I feel like when it came to like up rocks and things like that, black people had that by a mile. I feel like a lot of time when people were doing up rocks and stuff, they didn't even have rhythm. They would just be moving around non-rhythmically towards these like classic beats. Whereas black people always were grooving it. And it was like, I preferred black people's up rocks more than anyone else's. But when it came to just raw power, like it seemed like that's where the Koreans shined, and I guess probably because they didn't have the rhythm, they focused primarily on the things that were the most ostentatious, which are power moves. So you want to do so you see someone doing some air flares and the air turtles and the head spins and nonsense all in one combo. You gonna see that with them Koreans. Them niggas are on another level. And to be honest, I don't see Americans catching up. Being real. And
You don't think
black folks moved on, I think, a long time ago.
you don't no, but that's the thing. I think that in hip
Most
hop, it's such a braggadocious thing, and not for nothing. I don't think a lot of people. I don't think anyone that's ever gotten to hip hop, whatever element, whether it be even R&B or production, whatever it may be. I don't think no one's ever woke up and be like, "I'm gonna get a gold medal for this shit." So if I was actually like, "Hey, Chris Brown, you could be the first hip hop gold medalist from America," you don't think that might be enough to entice some of our better dancers to come out?
That definitely entice people.
It would listen. In order for that to happen, it would have to just become a central part of our culture. And I'll say this: if it became if it became a central part of our culture again, then we would absolutely be the best. Because everything that we've ever made a central part of our culture, we've completely dominated it. Everything, inventions, education, everything. If we decide to make it a central part of our culture, we completely dominate at it. And even if it's not something that's a central part of our culture, I don't know, something like separating conjoined twins, like who are attached at the head. We're gonna be the first, Ben Carson, right? Like we always are the most dominant. There's no doubt about it. But outside of that, if it's not a central part of our culture, then there might be some outliers. I mean, I'm not saying that we don't have the potential to be the best. I mean, gymnastics is not a central part of our culture, and we've been dominating that for about 12 years now. Because before Simone Biles, there was Gabby Douglas, and before Gabby Douglas, there was what's her name, Dominique Dawes, right? Like, so we got that. Swimming isn't a central part of our culture, so we haven't seen that. I predict in the next 20 years, I'm dead serious. I think in the next 20 years, we're going to see a black Olympic swimmer, and he's going to be a beast. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time because we're them.
So when I was still in the hip hop culture, there's an area out here called Lamert Park, and that's pretty much like a big mecca in Los Angeles for hip hop culture. They would do, breakdancing classes and like full meetups and the whole deal. And it was mostly black people that were doing the business there. But I will say you're correct. The Korean dancers, because they tended to be smaller and lighter weight, could do things that the black dancers were not doing. So it may seem flashier, it may seem more technically better, but it's not necessarily quite as fluid or in the art form as you could expect. So like I knew a little tiny Korean dude that could do like handspins, like he put both of his hands on the ground, put his body straight out and just start spinning in a circle at high speeds. I don't know most black people that could do that, but I'm pretty sure if we cared enough, we could get that done. So I agree with you. If we find a reason to focus on it, there will be someone that will actually get that done.
Yep.
This is just like a side note, but like when this comes up, I bring it up every time because it still bothers me. When Michael Phelps was like, he won like the whole series of gold medals, right? Because he crushed it, right? He did it for America, which is all that matters, right? But like I remember watching the coverage of this, and they did like this whole analysis of his body, right? And look how like incredible this man's body is for like this whole list of reasons, and that we'll never have an athlete as good as Michael Phelps. We achieved the pinnacle here, right? And it seemed a little, I don't know, like eugenicsy, right? Like it seemed a little weird. I like the beat of all this.
He was by all definitions what could be considered a genetic freak when it comes to swimming. His fingers were bigger. If I remember the acid in the joints. What was it called? What was that?
Lactic acid. Yeah.
Lactic acid in his joints to where in the water he could move constantly. I think his lungs were bigger. Like just everything about him was the holy shit.
No, he was absurd. Like he not only was he absurd, and I think it's one of those things where like it's just like the freak mixing, right? Because there's plenty of times where people are like have like all of the natural proclivities to be able to be something great, but then just don't like find that, right? Like it'd be like if Shaquille O'Neal never found basketball, if he was just like in a culture where they just that wasn't a thing, then it's like okay, he wouldn't be that. Like Yao Ming, I don't think was the most talented basketball player ever. I don't, not even close. Neither was Shaq, by the way. He wasn't. Like it's just he had the size for it, and it happened to have met, right? Like he met like Tiger Woods. I don't think had any special like inclination. His dad was just a beast and taught him at a very very young age. When he was like 3 years old, he was already golfing, right? So I think sometimes you just have those mixes where like these things like a person who's like gifted, talented physically. Like I remember them pointing out that his wingspan was like absurdly long for his height. And his feet size, they were like, yeah, his feet might as well be flippers themselves. They're absurdly large. So then, like, it even gives him just a greater advantage. I remember they tried to do the same thing with Simone Biles and say, like, yeah, man, she's like a freak. And it's like, nah, she's not. Because if you look at the gymnasts, like all them little Chinese gymnasts were shorter than her and still not able to do what she's able to do. She's on top of having some of that height, she's also a freak, right? Like as far as like talent wise, she's just absurd. And her work ethic was like greater than like literally any other gymnast. So I think it's a combination. So Michael Phelps was that. I understand though what you're saying though, because I hesitate to say what I said because I feel like people might try to imply that I'm being racist in the way that I'm like doing that, right? Like in the way that I'm opining there. But you know, I mean, so be it. You know what I mean? I am who I am.
Well, I'm saying we got gold medalists all over. We also have black gold medal swimmers. It's like it's not that we don't have that, but there just aren't Michael Phelps.
We do.
Some people,
I didn't even know that.
Michael Cullen, I believe his name is, 4-time gold medalist in 2012 Summer Olympics.
Okay.
4-time gold medal winner. I mean, we got hockey greats, like you name it, we've done it.
Oh yeah.
It ain't a lot of us doing it to where it stand out, but
well, no, even in hockey, I should find this video because I think Fanatic especially would like it a lot. But I was watching this video talking about the history of hockey, right? Specifically, Canadian hockey. And like there was like a Negro League basically there. And they were crushing. They were getting extremely popular for like the things they were doing on the ice, right? And like a lot of the terms they use in hockey, I'm not a hockey guy, so I can't really them off of you, right? But like they named them after people, but like turns out like this group was actually where they started, right? So these black hockey players actually like were like coming up with these new moves, right? And but like they didn't get the credit, right? And then eventually like it's because of racism basically, and that their league was dissolved and they kind of like got disappeared out of history. But yeah, like when I heard that, I was like, wow, it's amazing, you know, like it's a story that you hear repeat often. But I'll see if I can find that video for you because it was, you know, it's a lot more detailed. Yeah.
It makes me think of. Do y'all remember Saria Bonali? She's like this black French figure skater, super talented. I remember watching. I used to watch figure skating a lot with my mother.
Me too. When I was a kid.
And gymnastics, both of them, because my mom was really into them, and I just watched what she watched. I love my mom. So Saria Bonali was crazy. She was crazy. Like literally one of the strongest female figure skater, period. She was doing like triple salto into double salto into like it was just nonsense combinations. She was doing a backflip on the ice. By the way, they eventually just made that move like, oh no, we're not giving you that. We're not allowing you to do that on the ice anymore. It's too dangerous. Her and Scott Hamilton were the only two people that used to be able to do that, and they just disqualified that. They would like say they couldn't discredit her on like just physical prowess. Like she was just the strongest. So she was like literally doing like the strongest combinations like that were available to women at the time, period. And so she would get the highest score on that imaginable, and then she would end up bringing home silver medals because then they would like just ding her on artistic and say she's not artistic enough. They're saying that now with Simone Biles, where it's like, I mean, sure, she's the strongest and she's the most powerful, but she doesn't look graceful. That's the thing. It's we got to find a way of attacking on the thing. Fortunately, like grace and all that stuff isn't really necessarily considered. It literally is just about the technical ability when it comes to gymnastics. She has to have those dance elements, but like that's not like going to hurt her score. And again, her physical prowess is so much higher than everyone else. She literally jumps, like lands out of the ring and still outscores niggas. You know what I mean? Because she's just doing that good. So with all that being said, there is just this history of that. Like they just find a way of dinging black folks and trying everything they can to subvert us. Did you guys hear about the scandal with Sha'Carri Richardson and that Jamaican lady when it came to
that's what I was wondering. I wanted to ask you about that. What happened?
Bro, it's so insane. So Sha'Carri and the Jamaican lady, they're the only two people who didn't stay at the Olympic Village. Like they like stayed in their own hotel rooms and then like went there. The people who stayed in Olympic Village are bused to the Olympics from the Olympic Village, right? They put in an obscure rule that was changed and didn't notify a single person that it happened. That if you didn't go there, like on the bus with them, then you're not allowed to use their training facility, their warm up facility.
What?
So Shikari and them get there, see the bus going past them, and aren't allowed in, and security's telling them you guys can't come in. It's like, what? We're literally competing. We've already qualified. Like we've already done like whatever, like the preliminary races. Like we got to do this, and them niggas are saying no, you can't come in because you didn't come in with the bus. I was like, why does that matter? I'm here now. Like we're basically arriving at the same time. And what does that have to do with anything? Like we've always like used the same training facilities and the warm up facilities as everyone else. And they're like, no, you can't because you didn't do that, and it's in the rules now. It's like, when did you notify any of us? There's no evidence that they ever notified any of them. So then they said, not only can you not go into the training facility, you can't even come in through this entrance. You have to walk around the thing in order to get to it. So they had to walk like over a mile to get into the Olympics where they weren't going to be able to warm up. So the Jamaican was like, I'm just not even competing. This is stupid. If I don't get to warm up and stuff, how am I supposed to whatever? Shikari goes and ends up getting silver in that meet. Something. It's disgusting. It's racist. I think it was intentional. Change my
I ain't
mind.
mad at that. Shit, I don't doubt it.
Olympics probably racist.
I
Racism in Europe? What?
I believe I found the video. So I'm gonna put that in our group chat. I'll even DM it to you, Fanatic, just so you don't. Because I think you'll find this interesting. And I'll put it in the YouTube and Twitch.
Cool.
Yeah. But I'll put it in YouTube and Twitch.
Old timey looking folk there, the mustaches and everything.
DM'd it to you, so make sure.
Crazy.
But yeah, like this, like I heard the story. Like it was late at night when I heard this story, and I'm like it was random because this is a sports channel, right? And the likelihood that I'm listening to a fucking sports channel is pretty fucking low. But like I found it like intensely fascinating. I just put it into Twitch and YouTube, so you guys can look at that link as well. Sorry, so what was it? Manners said you should look into the Swyer syndrome stuff going on as well. It's one of the running races. 5 out of the 8 racers had this syndrome that give them XY chromosomes at birth. Oh, Sawyer syndrome. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, Sawyer.
Right.
Yeah,
Even though
kind of like the boxer.
Yeah, they are born female. It's 1 in 80,000 births, and countries are actively looking for people born with the syndrome so they can be athletes. That's interesting. Yeah, that's
actually that I believe.
And as for the Imane Khalif thing, there's no actual proof that she has Sawyer syndrome. That was just a thing that was stated by Russian media.
Yeah,
not by Russian media, by a Russian testing facility.
Thank you. Sorry, not me. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. So then now I guess I don't want to discredit that testing facility, like, because I don't know for sure. But if that's their job to do, I'm going to trust those results. The thing is, what I think was bothering me the most in that situation is that everyone kept trying to say that she was trans. That had nothing to do with trans whatsoever. She was literally assigned female at birth.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? It was nonsense.
TERFs do not have. TERFs and transphobes are not logical. They are completely fear-based. The only thing on their mind is hate, fear, and more hate. They literally I've seen random TERFs. Once you send them a picture of J.K. Rowling, they'll go, "That's a man." It's like, wow. What the fuck?
When that shit first happened, I just knew, like, because somebody was like, "No, it's." Because if you know anything about the Olympics, like females, testosterone testing, XYZ chromosomes, that's the thing that'll pop up. Usually for me, I've only ever seen it pop up in track, but those are the sports I watch. But regardless, I was like, if America gets this story and the word trans is mentioned, we're gonna go. We're never gonna. No one gives a fuck about no chromosomes, no SWAT, none of that. We don't give a shit. If you just say a trans woman beat the shit out of a female, we done. That's it. There's nothing. We're just fighting again.
It's facts, but that's not unfounded. Is the crazy part. The reason why I say that is because the Fallon Fox situation. That was wild as freak.
I'm not saying this. I'm not even saying that. I don't want to say it's unfounded because I hope I didn't come off that way. I'm just saying that I know when people got it, that's where it was gonna go.
100%.
Although there actually was a trans person in the Olympics, but it was on the male boxer side.
Oh, they got rocked, didn't they?
No, they did pretty well.
Did they?
They got a medal? We talking
I
bronze? We
don't
talking
know.
silver? What we talking?
I'll double check that one, but I remember they did. I remember they actually were in it, and I think I don't know if they lost. How many they lost? How many they won? I'll double check that.
But it's
I'm
like
gonna tell
that.
you
Like
just like this. Look, if you're competing in the Olympics, which is like the highest elite level, and you actually beat people who are at the highest elite level, I mean, I think that no matter what, like the bigotry in me wants to go ahead and discredit this person, and because I've always said you can find trans men, trans women that are going to go dominate, the women in sports, but you're not going to find trans men to go dominate men in sports. However, there are a few occasions where this has happened. There was a trans male boxer, or trans man boxer, a woman,
Yeah.
assigned female at birth who transitioned to a man and then beat another man boxer. That has happened. So this does exist. It's just like exceedingly rare. So I want this person in the Olympics to get completely destroyed, but maybe she didn't.
did they? Wait. So
The one that you're thinking of when you think of trans male boxer that's like the most popular right now is Patricio Manuel. They had 3 back-to-back wins against their different opponents, and they lost a single fight recently. But they've been getting actually getting wins and knockouts. So
in the
It's
Olympic
crazy.
at the Olympic.
that's
Nah.
not the Olympic one. The Olympic one is Hergi I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. Bakyadan. I cannot say that name correctly. He lost the fight, but still comes out a winner. I'm looking at the article now. I'll send it to the chat.
What do you mean it come? Wait, what?
That's what the article headline says. Trans boxer Herji Bakyadan loses historic Olympic bout and still comes out a winner.
Oh God!
It's basically making history in a way, I guess.
Oh God! Oh Lord!
Here, I'll put it in the chat for you guys.
I hate when I really do, because I love sports, and I really hate when political shit gets it. Because we would never say that for any other boxer ever. We would never say, yeah, man,
Filipino. That's so.
We never like, I mean, you got your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? TKO first round, but a real moral victory here. You know what I'm talking about? We like, bro.
Oh my God! I just read this. Y'all know that Jordan Childs went ahead and had to give up her medal.
Why?
Did you guys hear about that situation?
I feel like I did.
Oh my God, it's so disgusting, bro. You can't pick these people. So look, Jordan Childs doing her floor exercise and for her floor routine, and she places like out of the money. Her team go up to the judges and point out, hey, you guys scored her wrong. You didn't give her credit for these things that she absolutely did, which should make her score higher. And so then they look and they review and they're like, you're right, we didn't account for that thing.
Oh yeah.
So now we have to raise it. By raising her score, it raised her up to 3rd place. So she should have got a bronze medal. So then the person that she beat from one of those Caucasian European countries, their team, they raise up the concern that they're saying, wait a minute, hold on. First off, it's foul to ever take a medal from someone. If they earn that medal, then they should keep that medal. And it's like, well, she didn't earn it technically because it wasn't a mistake of Jordan's at all. It was a mistake of the judges. They scored improperly, and so she deserved this medal. Yep. So then they find the rule. The rule says that I think you have exactly 1 minute to go and talk to the judges after, if there's a technical error. And they said that it was 1 minute and 1 second.
It was, yeah.
So then because of that, we have to take your medal from you. So now they're trying to force Jordan to give it up. Video comes out later on. It's like, wait, no. She went to talk to the judges before that minute. She was talking to them before. They logged at 1 minute and 1, but she had already started talking to them beforehand to get their attention. Doesn't matter. So at one point they were entertaining the notion of, okay, fine, then they both get to keep their medals. We'll just give the other girl a medal.
Yeah.
And we'll let Jordan keep hers too, even though Jordan was the rightful owner of the medal based on scoring. If the judges didn't make a mistake, not the coach, not Jordan, if the judges didn't make the mistake that they did. Instead, eventually they just decided, nah, we're just gonna go ahead and strip her of her medal and give it to the other girl because of that technicality of it not being within a minute, even though it seemed like it might have actually been within that minute. And so now Jordan had to give up the medal. And originally she was like, I'm not giving it up, and so she wasn't like she hadn't turned it in for the first 2 weeks, but then she finally did turn it in.
And they threatened her enough.
That's so sick. That's disgusting to me.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
did hear about that part. Yeah.
What country was it that like kept
Hershey
it from her?
Hershey did in fact lose, but
Awesome. I
Like,
support much.
how
Those
would you
people are
even
nasty.
how would you even hold your head up high, like if you got the medal that way? You know,
I would
like
not.
I'm like, yo, all right, like it's unfortunate, you know, like it was, you know, it's your dream to get a medal, but like
It
I
was
like
Romania.
this one isn't mine, right? So like I actually don't want this. Like please,
Right.
like I just because I like, what am I gonna show my grandkids this? Like, like what the fuck? Like, this is, it's an embarrassment.
The participation medal / trophy
Right.
Yeah,
that you
it's
didn't
like,
quite
don't give me
earn.
this. Don't do this to me, right? Don't
It
put this
was-
on my neck. Like,
Well, I mean, look at like
No.
the Confederate people. They're so proud of their Confederate history, even though they got mopped. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
know.
matter. It just once you decide to make something into your valor, it's like, nah, yeah, we did that, and it's like,
yeah, you mean the losers? Yeah, like
y'all
like,
lost.
You were losers.
Y'all was a very short amount of time and got completely destroyed
Yeah, you were
by the
traitors.
niggas y'all were trying to enslave. Stop it. What are we talking about? But they'll still be proud. They'll still be proud.
It
but,
was
no,
Romania. They returned the medal back to Romania. That was a country that was bitching.
yeah.
That's disgusting. And then to make the statement, once someone has that medal, you should never take that medal from that person.
Watch
That's
them
what you're
reverse that
arguing
fucking
to do that
rule.
to Jordan. You're doing
Watch-
that to Jordan. You're taking
Yeah.
it from her.
Watch them reverse that fucking rule the next time, right? Like, watch that happen to like some similar happen to white individuals, and like, nah, no, this other white person, they definitely deserve it. Watch it. Watch it.
Yep.
Like,
I wonder if what's the penalty if she would have kept it. Like, if that's you, do you think you walk off with the medal and say fuck the Olympics? Like, if y'all ban me, I'm never.
Yes. Look, hold on. I mean, I don't want to give a dishonest answer. In my feelings, I'm saying yes. But in reality, if I know that I have a career and I have to continue a career in this and I plan on doing this, and we now see that people are competing in the Olympics a lot older, before it was like literally at maximum 2 and they would start at like 16 and you might have a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old like competing in the Olympics and that was it. And nowadays you see like Simone Biles is, I want to say like 28 and still competing. So I would say if I was Jordan Childs, and I think I still have a future to like try to possibly get a gold when Simone retires, because you ain't beating Simone. Like if I was that person, then I would say, yeah, you know what, I'll go ahead and give them back their bronze, and I'll just try to win some other U.S. championships and other things like that. I would do that. Like in the interest of my career, I wouldn't stop complaining about it. I would forever call them out as grinding.
Literally, I was just thinking, if I'm on the medal stand, right? If I'm being interviewed, if they ask me a question, you know what I'm saying. Last time they stole this, the IOC, they stole this from me, but I got it now. Like
100%. Ain't no way. They could be asking me, so how's the weather been? It's been really good. I wish I had a bronze medal to block the sun though, but that got taken. I'm finding ways of going to it. Forcing it. Forcing the issue.
They ain't forgetting it. They ain't forgetting it. They ain't
Never in a
forgetting it.
million years. I think that was foul, bro. It hurts me.
It is.
They keep doing, bro. They just keep doing these kinds of things, man. We can just keep going down the list and find more ways that it just seems like they just keep doing foul stuff. It's gross.
I like how what you said, like we talked about. You brought up earlier about like the idea of grace, right? And how it's so important that like, and it's good that apparently gymnastics isn't one of these where they like take these like purely subjective things out, right? Like because that's a clear pathway for bias, right? So like once you like judge on the technicals, hey, did you do the triple axel double flip or whatever the fuck, right? If you did it, you get, this is the score that you get, right? And when you keep it like that, then it makes it so much harder for them to deny us or anyone else, right? They don't particularly like. But the moment you introduce that, it's interesting, right? Yeah. Then it's like, well, yeah, there's just some sort of intrinsic aspect of this performance that I just saw that doesn't quite match up with this other person's. I don't know, it's just like it's not so graceful, you know?
Yeah,
Like it wasn't. It didn't
100%.
inspire me.
Bro, they did it. Okay, that was the other one that came to my mind. In tennis, I can't remember this young black woman's name, but she's great right now.
Naomi
and-
Osaka.
No, it's the other one, the other young black girl that's like completely dominating tennis right now. Yeah, not Serena Williams, not Naomi Osaka. It's a new one. And
Right.
anyway, I was watching at the Olympics. It's my fault. I'm bringing up the story and can't remember the name. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. But either way, she was arguing with the person with the judge because the judge was cheating, and she's like, "You keep giving her this extra time, and she's never ready for my serves, and yada 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 yada. You have to do your job. Like this is unfair." And she's like saying it, and for the first time, the entire audience was clapping and cheering with her in support of her because what she was saying was accurate. And it reminds me of the fact that Serena Williams got cheated so many times in tennis. It was so bad that they eventually added a rule. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, where if a player disagreed with a judge on whether or not a ball was in or out, then there's like a review cam that the player can call and be able to look at and be able to say it was in or not. And because Serena kept disagreeing with the judges, it's like, nah, you're wrong. It was absolutely in. I don't even know what the freak you're seeing with your eyes. They ended up creating a rule where they would record it and then like allow them to review to
Like
be able
the
to
NFL.
test it. Right. And
Yeah.
of course, Serena started invoking that and was right 90% of the time and just kept. She was winning competitions where the difference between a win and a loss was her like, nope, we're reviewing this, and then reviewing it and it proving that it was actually on her side and her being right, but the judges were still trying to cheat her. She was tested. They kept testing her for steroids over and over, and they tested her more than literally any other gymnast in existence. They kept insisting she was on steroids, and she kept submitting until finally she started complaining about it. Like, you guys test me more than everyone else. This is becoming harassment. I've never cheated, and you've never found any substance, and you won't stop. They just wouldn't. It was just a form of harassment. It was disgusting. Bro, they just be hating on us.
So
They not like us.
when you're looking at sports, like all the way back to World War II, when Jesse Owens ended up defacing the Third Reich,
Yep.
this isn't really pointed out in history. So do you think at some point, like when Prime is bringing up the Negro League of hockey and all these other instances of great black athletes, like you didn't know about the 4-time Olympic gold medalist swimmer? Like, we don't get these things pointed out to us. So in order for us to not need a Black History Month, should these things be pointed out more often in education and everything else?
Yeah, I think you should always point those things out. I think when people advocate for a dissolution of Black History Month, it's because it's a watered down thing of like, well, we're not teaching those things. In fact, we don't educate people. It's like the same tired, like I would assume there's a wide age range here, right? And I would assume we've all had the same Black history experience. If Rosa Parks sat down, right? Martin Luther King had a dream. Malcolm X was a bad person. On to more white history. Like it's not as like an in-depth thing. That's why I think most people like argue for the dissolution of it, which I don't know if that's fair. I think that you should try to reform things before you destroy them, but I get what you're saying.
No, I think we need to have one until we start integrating Black history into being American history or history in general.
That's exactly it. You can't tell me that we need to dissolve the one thing where we're going to get the little pieces of crumbs of Black history that we're going to, while you haven't actually fixed the actual education system in the first place and have already integrated it. If you even take away these crumbs, then you get nothing. You get nothing. If the only time you'll teach it is when you're like pretty much mandated to, and you do just as little as you possibly can, and then we're supposed to believe that some sort of way people are still going to get any, like if you take it away?
Fanatics. The argument you just gave, right, is correct. But it's like that's the argument that you use when you hear like people like libertarians and conservatives say like, well, how are we going to get past racism if we keep bringing up race? Like, well, we haven't made things equal yet, so we have to like actually judge these things. We have to talk about these issues, right? We can't like just like get rid of this concept when this concept still like runs our lives, right? Which is still integral within society. So until we can reform society, yeah, we're gonna have to keep talking about race. I know you don't like it. I know it upsets your feelings, but this is something we have to discuss.
Sure. Didn't they say that the first step to fixing a problem is acknowledging that you have a problem?
Yeah.
y'all niggas refuse to acknowledge it. I sat there and
Yeah.
had a conversation with that psychopath. What's his name? Fabian Liberty, Scott?
Yeah, Scott.
Scott Fabian Liberty. I had a conversation with that psychopath where he made the statement that black people were better off during segregation. We absolutely performed would have continued to thrive more if there was segregation, and that he didn't believe that the state should have intervened when it came to integration within the school system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and that he doesn't believe that systemic oppression is even a valid thing at this point, like right now. So it's like when you can't even acknowledge the ongoing systemic oppression, and you're saying that you think that the race problem is going to fix itself if we just simply stop addressing it. That doesn't make any sense. That's like someone like me finding out that my leg is gangrenous, and then you telling me, well, the easiest way to fix your leg is just to get in harmony by ignoring the pain in your leg, ignore the problems in your leg, and just be in harmony with the rest of your body. Well, this thing is going to continue to fester, retard. If we don't fix that issue, it has an impact on the rest of the body. Crime's gonna happen, you know what I mean? And then there's gonna be infection to the rest of society. Or we actually address that leg, make it whole. Gangrene is probably too far. We probably just gotta amputate that. But I'm saying on something else, you fix the issue, and then now the body is whole, and now you can get back into equilibrium and harmony. The problem is they don't even want to acknowledge the history. When you got people in Florida banning books that teach about black history, and when you have Texas doing the exact same, and you have the ongoing misinformation from the lost cause, from the Southerners, right, from those Confederate states, you have 18% of high school U.S. seniors being able to identify slavery as the root cause of the Civil War, and you have all of this history that's missing, and so on and so forth. It seems like, well, yeah, no, we can't ignore this. We have to bring it up because there are still these disparities that you're causing. Freak out of here. Those people aren't honest.
I don't know if it's just my perception or if it's a reality, but I feel like when it comes down to the Black experience in America or in many other countries, we experience the most revisionist history out of anybody else, to where they twist the facts of what happened to be something else. Like I just got into a conversation, I want to say it was a week or two ago, and somebody was telling me that the party switch never happened.
Retard. Retard. Tell that person they're retarded.
That's not something
whenever I have conversations about the party
That's why you
switch
tag
thing,
Fanatic in.
whenever I end up having a conversation with someone about the fucking party switch thing, because I know they're gonna be stupid and say, well, the Democrats were, I'm just gonna go, no. The conservatives of the time versus the liberals of the time. The conservatives of the time, who were called the Dixiecrats, were the ones who had slaves. That's your party now.
100%.
I think the reason that folks fight the conversation so much, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about this. And it got real esoteric. We started talking about like what it means to be black and what it means to be white. And it got to the point we were talking like, at the root of this, if I say I'm upset with the way that black people have been treated in this country at the hands of America, white America, corporate America, however you would like to word that, I think that most folks, like, they don't ever want that. If they acknowledge that what you're saying is valid, then they have to acknowledge that the way you feel towards this whole shit is valid, and they feel a part of that. So whatever happens, no matter what they have to do, if they have to pretend that, like the effects of Jim Crow stopped a year after it was abolished, like if they have to rewrite history, if they have to take away gold, whatever is necessary, they'll do it so that they never have to stare down the barrel of that. If that makes any sense, like the idea that no, what you're feeling is justified. This hate that you feel, that I see you express, this is justified.
Sure, it's white guilt, and I understand it. It took me a while. Thank you, Andy BB Hoodsta, for explaining that to me, because I could not understand it. But now I very much get it because I understand what black guilt is. Right? I feel like at my worst, when I had I would say more internalized racism, there was a big point in time when I would feel personally embarrassed if I saw a black person do something that I thought was embarrassing. I would feel personally embarrassed by that, right? And we all know that. Look, ain't no way. Listen, Key and Peele did the skit, and I know it hit into the hearts of all of us sitting in this room. Well, I don't know who it wouldn't, but I'm saying for the vast majority of black folks, it did. It was the one where they were talking about, where they were on the news. No, it wasn't Key and Peele. It was on SNL.
Was it Dave Chappelle?
No, it was on SNL.
I want to know what the skit was.
They were reading the news, and they were like, they would be talking about like some violent thing that happened, and then you would find out that it was like a black person And if you heard,
Oh,
heard
everybody's
of the black
getting
person, then everybody would be like you know, they heard it was a white guy, and the black dude was like, let's go, and they're all excited, right? And then they go back and they read a news story, and they're just like, okay, so and so did such and such, and you're like, oh, it was a white guy, and then they're like taking turns, because to be honest with you, like, you can lie to yourself, you ain't gonna gaslight me. We do internalize like a lot of like group behavior, the same way that we take glory in like black excellence in athletics, black excellence in medical field, and in, like, you know, Johnny Cochran, one of the greatest lawyers of all time, et cetera, et cetera. We take our own personal glory in that, where we have a cultural pride. So if we can have a cultural pride, then that means if black people are doing something foul, then we got to have that cultural shame. And white people end up experiencing cultural shame around the idea of some of the heinous things that white people have done in this country. And I think the challenge is trying to get people to understand you can acknowledge some of the harmful things that have been done while not personally internalizing it. Because I'm not personally internalizing it when I hear a black person, I don't know, did something foul. Just like I don't think every white person should be personally internalizing it when you hear about the latest school shooting.
No, I agree with you, because like I had the same feeling when Muhammad and Malvo happened. When the DC sniper was going on, I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's got to be a white dude. That's got to be like, no, this definitely, it ain't us. I ain't even sweating this. And then it was us, and I'm just like,
You're like, nigga,
for
how?
real?
We don't do that. But yeah,
We
nah,
don't.
for sure.
Yeah, that's what was in my head. And so in these instances, I don't necessarily internalize that situation, but I know it is going to set the movement back. And that, I think, is one of the bigger issues when it comes down to being black. And this is why I have issues with like Bill Cosby, for one person, is that you have to always be perfect. And the second you aren't perfect, you're setting us back 10 years, 15 years, so on and so forth. We shouldn't have to feel like every time something happens, we are personally setting us back as a people.
Right. And to be honest with you, even when you didn't do anything foul, they'll still put it on you like they did Bill Cosby. And then at that point, you know what I mean, where he's still setting us back, even though he was innocent and never even did anything. It's crazy.
It's crazy all that.
I've always felt like that's a weird thing that's like so socially normal to do.
Because
Because I remember, like, I've done several things in my life where another black person has said, like, hey, man, you should do that because it makes black people look bad. And I would think to myself, well, hey, don't ever follow Solus. If I crash out, I crash the fuck out on my own. Like, let me. I didn't do this as a black man. I did it as me. I'm not, the gang not with me for this. But my point being is that, like, if you see me do something you think is wrong, right? And then your immediate thought is, black people. That's you. Like, that's in your heart. There's nothing anyone could have ever done to get that out of you.
100%.
I think that
it is in their hearts. That's the problem.
No, I agree with what Fanatic was saying earlier. I do think that it comes from the, like, people love saying the statement black people aren't a monolith, and people love saying we're all individuals, and there's the like surface level, obviously that's true, we are all individuals, but black people in the American experience do have a unique shared culture that's different from other races, particularly from white people, just because we all have some shared, well, at least as far as black Americans, we have a shared history of dating back to slavery, and then even past that with black immigrants dating back to Jim Crow. Like, if you talk to white people from the South, white people from the South, like the typical Southern, you know, I don't know, country boy, hillbilly, redneck, insert word here, it doesn't necessarily associate themselves with white people in California. When a white person in California does something, they don't say like, "Oh, we did it," necessarily. Like, because whiteness is just a standard. Whiteness doesn't whiteness is a shared identity when they want it to be, but generally in their day to day, they don't share themselves as whiteness. They share themselves based off other things. But black people, we share blackness. Even in places I've never been to the state of Nevada. If I go to the state of Nevada and I see a nigga, I'm probably gonna do the head nod to him, like knowing nothing about him, knowing nothing, and that's unique. That's very unique to blackness. That's very particular to blackness. Everyone in this room, we're all from different parts of the country, but the reason why I'm guessing Prime decided to wanted to host an event related to black people is because of some general shared community that we have. Like people, like they try to make the argument like there's not a white history month or a white what you call, insert thing here. But
It's
they
every
only,
month.
but I'm saying they only bring those things up in a response to blackness. It's not like they could do those things if they wanted to. But the thing is, they don't actually care to do those things because they don't have a shared experience as whiteness.
You
Like that
notice that that's the only time we're equal? You ever notice that? Like, whenever, like, I swear to God, the only time that white people can do this thing where it's like, we're equal and like, what you have is what I should have is whenever black people say, hey, I uniquely need something from me. And that only in that moment, only in that time, it's like, wait, well, what about us? We don't have that thing. We're just like you.
When it came to us asking for equality in the inverse, every single time we ever did, there was always pushback. We should be able to drink from your fountains. Nah, y'all need your own. We should be able to, just make sure that it's, good enough. We should be able to go to your colleges and our children should be able to go to your schools. Nah, we're good. We don't need that. We should be able to use the train cars that we built. Nah, you don't need that. We should get treatment like to offset the damage that you guys caused. Well, I mean, if y'all are gonna get some extra funding, we should get it too. It's wild as fake.
Weird, bro.
Basically, I was saying that to say that because when we see black people do well, we all like across the diaspora seem to share in that like achievement in some way, like socially. There is like a counter balance to that whenever negative things happen, there is going to be some shared like, crap, that doesn't look good for us, even though you don't have to own that, but
I feel like the one preceded the other. I feel like the shared negative like imposition of this person did something, so all black people are like holding black people collectively responsible for the actions of an individual.
Mm-hmm.
I think that happened first, and which caused us to see ourselves as a collective, and then we began to share in all of our benefits, right?
For sure,
And
I agree with that.
I think it is a toxic thing. It was toxic at one point. I feel like it expressed itself in a toxic way by me wanting to distance myself from the collective if I ever saw something negative, and like feeling like I need to do above and beyond to be like an ambassador, right? All this kind of nonsense that I had internalized years ago. So I feel like getting older, becoming more confident and more appreciative of who I am and my culture, and the collective. I now don't feel like I need to owe anybody anything. I feel like I look at, I'm gonna say it. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna say I see us as great. I see excellence, and so I don't feel like we owe anyone else anything. If anything, they owe us. That's how I feel.
We got it out the mud, so we didn't get it because of. We got it in spite of. In most instances, it's very rare that there was all the perfect circumstances for us to be able to get to whatever we needed to get to. And so it's truly, like, as you say, black excellence that made these situations possible. And I appreciate the fuck out of that.
Right.
It's not the same.
Unfortunately, it doesn't even come in situations always like we claim people who don't even want us. Like Tiger Woods don't really want to be black. Like he understands that he can't distance himself from it, but Tiger Woods doesn't he wasn't like advocating for the backing of the black community to support him in golf, and still not really to this day. But niggas love to see it. We love to see a nigga out there swinging that that club, boy.
Didn't he say he was Kablasian? Yeah. We should
he's like, well, I'm not just one thing.
I'll still forever claim Piccolo.
Oh my God, niggas, please, anime niggas, please stop saying this shit for the love of God. No, they keep saying Piccolo was black. Folks, y'all can't, dog. Just because someone's tall, dark, bald, and muscular and has a deep voice, we can't be like, you know what? Stop, please stop.
Bam is one of those Negroes. Ain't you, Bam?
Not because he was dark. It was because he took care of a child and raised that child to be the greatest. That's why people think Piccolo is black.
I love y'all. I love y'all. I really.
He has black father energy. How can I not?
Exactly.
Bam, my nigga, don't hide your pie level.
I like I said, I stand by. I'll never deny it.
Bam is
I don't go, but I just The only reason I don't go hard for Piccolo is because like Dragon Ball is like a F tier anime. It's a terrible concept of a show.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. It is literally one of the worst animes of all time.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry. It is really, 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 really,
Are
really
y'all
bad.
trying to
It was a
wound me?
great introduction.
Are y'all
Like,
trying
I
to wound
understand
me?
why it introduced a lot of people. I understand the influence, but it's a terrible show once you like turn 13 and you notice that anything else.
Hey, bro. All right, fucking schnob. Some of us just like to see explosions. Okay, relax, calm the fuck
It's
down.
not even good at that.
Aficionados. Some of us just like to see people get their ass whooped. Relax.
Sorry,
It's
Prime.
like if
I'm
Dragon Ball
posting
had
Kai
good
Rillins in
fight
your
scenes,
chat.
I would accept that. I was like, oh well, at least there's good fights. It's not even good fights.
Nigga,
It's not.
remember,
Not what you're grown.
I remember vividly my favorite fight scene till this day. My favorite anime is Afro Samurai. When Broly grabbed Gohan, smashed his ass into a building, and Goku tried to be a dad, started running, and then he threw a power blast at that nigga's chest, and he flew into Vegeta. That was one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen.
You already dealing with a movie.
Well, that was a
like,
non-canon movie,
yeah.
but I guess.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
but it's still not.
yeah.
But it's still not quality. I
Niggas
mean, like
nasty.
the average episode of JJK has like way better fights.
Don't
Let's not
compare
do
it to JJK. Come on, that's like unfair.
Let's not do
'Cause, like,
this.
with like
no,
modern
Dragon Ball
3D
Z is considered the greatest anime of all
Well,
time.
No one's doing that. It's
Yes,
the
they
Godfather. It's the Godfather.
No.
It's a
showing
terrible
anime.
father.
Well,
I wish it was a non-present
There's a
father.
black father. Okay, there we go. So,
I didn't say that.
yeah, but no. My black father's great. But I hear what you're trying to say. I've had okay, so with my anime journey, right? Like I started with I started before Dragon Ball Z. Some other things I started with,
But
but
probably Pokemon.
Well, Pokemon, yeah. But I didn't even look at Pokemon as the anime. And before that, I seen Sailor Moon and I seen Ronin Warriors. Those are the things that I started off with. Yeah, I started off with those three actually, right? But I hadn't considered this like a separate art from. They were just cartoons to me, right? But then Dragon Ball Z, and that was like, oh, this is something else, right? And it was amazing, and I was in love with it, right? But then after that, I got into Naruto. And I realized, you're right, the fight scenes of Dragon Balls, they don't compare, right? Because it became too much about power levels and less about technique, right?
So
the
you got into
battlefield
Ninja
mattered
Goku.
in Naruto, right? Sorry?
You got into Ninja Goku. And
Yeah,
then you
Ninja
also decided to love Pirate Goku.
I was a Pirate Goku, indeed. But I hear what you're saying, but I wouldn't say that it's a bad anime. I think it's different from saying it's a bad anime.
What's good about it? I don't think the stories are interesting. I don't think the fights.
I think the stories are actually quite interesting.
Dragon,
I thought the Android Saga was amazing.
Original
I thought
Dragon Ball all the way to Cell Saga.
1 second, hold on. Yeah, hold on. I think the Android Saga is absolutely interesting. I think
it's cool. It's some niggas we need to fight. They beat you up.
I'm sorry,
Get stronger.
They
beat you up.
What was the Android Saga?
Stronger.
Sorry, what was the Android Saga? What was the Android Saga?
It was the people that needed to be beat up.
No.
Okay, so do you not watch the Android Saga? Do you not? Okay, great. So
Trunks came back went back to the past and said, and now Trunks is a teenager and says, "Oh my goodness, Goku, you die in the future, but somebody has to be strong enough to beat these androids that came back because they're really strong." And then they we need to train to get stronger. So they trained to get stronger. They still got beat, and then Zenkai boost beating us makes us stronger. They come back stronger again. The androids end up there ends up being a third bigger boss, which is Cell that doesn't exist. And then we need to be even stronger than we thought we needed to be. And
that's shonen anime and battle anime in general, right? Yeah,
but there's actually good story around. We can't beat them
initially, and then we have to up our game in some way, right? Now, I'll admit Dragon Ball Z is a bit more basic in the way that they up their game. That's fair, right? But in terms of the basic story structure, or a new enemy appears, and then they whoop the ass of the heroes, right? Yeah, that's the basic structure of almost all of them.
Sure, but I'm saying that Dragon Ball Z specifically doesn't add anything else to that. I understand that's.
What do you mean? No, yes they do. Yes they do. No, you're just lying. Vegeta's story arc of trying to overcome Goku and that specific android arc wasn't just, hey, let's fight somebody. It was somebody that was a prince of a fucking planet trying to figure out how he could overcome this scribe that was not even supposed to be on his level. It was that story in itself. And then Goku didn't kill Cell, by the way. His son did. That entire story arc. Remember when they tried to make Gohan was him before?
And then they retconned it. And then when they didn't retcon it, but they was like they didn't retcon it, but they were like, Gohan, you actually have the ultimate potential. You're way stronger than Goku. And then the next season they decide actually you're not. Goku's way stronger than you.
Yeah, there's a story about Gohan
No. We're not doing that.
Like what? You're just shitting on it.
Gohan actually is still, even in Super, considered the strongest. All the way up until Goku got Ultra Instinct, and now he has Beast Form Gohan. So Beast Form Gohan is now the strongest.
Can I?
Gohan's still the strongest.
Fanatic, go ahead.
Listen, hold up. I'm looking for it. I can't find it. I'm gonna keep on looking. Eventually, I'm gonna find it. I don't know how to use the search function particularly well in Discord because for all my life, I didn't watch Dragon Ball because I grew up without television. So all my friends were all talking about Dragon Ball like it was the hottest thing in the world, and I was a little kid and I didn't get to watch it. I remember having like a screensaver because I found an image on Google search and I made it as like my little laptop's background of Goku flying on the Nimbus cloud. It was freaking sick. It was one of the sickest pictures I've ever seen in my life. So either way, like I was into it like from a distance, but I never really got to watch it. Now, when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, I wanted to watch it because everyone was still going ham about it and they all told me it was great. So I went ahead and watched it and I turned it on and I watched that anime and I'm going to give you guys the formula really quick, okay?
Oh no.
The formula is simply some powerful being is the most powerful nigga you've ever heard of in your life, the most powerful being in the universe, and he's coming and he's about to wash y'all. So you better train and prepare for it. Everyone trains for it, and Goku is off somewhere and he can't fight during that thing. They all get washed. Goku shows up and he's now stronger than those people and he avenges that person and that person can't even keep up and he destroys them. Then we find out there is an even stronger being than that individual. But something happens and Goku is off and can't fight. His friends train and they all are training and then the person shows up and absolutely washes all of his friends. And then after they all get washed, Goku shows up, but he's stronger than what he used to be. And he's way stronger than that individual who he's fighting. And so then at that point, he completely destroys that person. Now, a new being shows up in the universe, and that new being is more powerful than even this individual we thought was the strongest nigga in the universe. And then that person, they know that he's coming in advance, and they're going to all train to prepare for that individual, and then they're going to go fight that thing, but Goku can't be in that fight. And he's not there yet, and his friends are getting washed, and then he shows up. Now, what I just described to you was both the Vegeta fight, it was then the Ginyu Force, then it was Frieza,
and then it's
Frieza. It was Frieza.
No, it wasn't Frieza. He showed up and he got his ass beat by Frieza. He showed up. He got straight washed by Frieza. Survived. Like the entire time he's getting beat by Frieza, barely surviving. And then he once Frieza kills his friend, then he gets that power up. Right? Then he gets.
Well, he died to Raditz as well.
I thought. Yes, and when he died to get Raditz, then his friends were going to get washed in the next fight, and then that's when he was off training on King Kai's planet or whatever that guy's name was. I can't remember right now.
King Kai.
He was training on his planet to learn his special technique and to become a more powerful person with all of the extra gravity, so that when he showed up the next time, he was stronger. Likewise, when it came time for them traveling to planet Namek, it was the same type of situation. His friends arrived before he did, and he was on his way in a spaceship and traveling and training with extra gravity, so that when he showed up, he was stronger. And the first people he fought was Ginyu Force. But like he did in the Raditz fight, he was injured in that fight. But because he was injured in that fight, that meant that the next people that he fought, that means that, we learn that, whenever Saiyans are healing and recovering, they're gaining strength. And so then at that point, the new being is stronger than the Ginyu Force. And at that point, that new being is washing their friends. But then Goku shows up having gained his strength from being inside of that capsule and comes out and washes that nigga. And then that happens over and over and over.
Who was the next person he went out? That was Frieza. That was wrong.
Well,
that's
no. The only thing he said is that Goku always has a tough fight, whatever the new big bad is.
Well, yeah, because Goku's
it's not an easy fight. But he always because he had a close fight with Raditz too. Technically,
he did. He had a close fight with Raditz. He even had a close fight with Vegeta in the beginning. And the Ginyu Force. He had a strong fight with Captain Ginyu. right?
And
Where he ended up
fight
like,
with Frieza. It's a
and he-
close fight, but he wins.
He Raditz, he lost. He just like lost that fight. He couldn't beat Raditz.
Yeah,
right?
Piccolo beat Raditz.
Yeah, he had all he could do was hold on to the motherfucker, and then he got shot. Right? That's what
But it was on
happened.
his terms. It was still it was still on his terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay, I'm sorry.
He doesn't have agency.
Listen. Okay, no.
Okay, no,
just to be clear.
please.
Wait, no, last thing. So the Raditz fight is what starts it. That's the first fight. From that point on is when they do the formula. From that point on, and even I believe in the Raditz fight, like in the beginning, weren't Goku's friends getting washed before Goku showed up to fight him?
Raditz?
No.
Raditz.
No.
I mean,
Okay,
was
hold
it
on,
Tien
hold on,
showed up in front of
please,
Raditz, I think
please.
maybe, and he got his ass kicked. I forget.
No.
I forget if
Well,
Tien showed
everybody
up.
got
No,
washed.
I can look it up right now.
Raditz,
Look it up.
Can I get to the moral of the story?
Please, can I?
Can we
Hey,
just?
no. Let's Razor
It's
jump
not that
in.
important. I'm already bored because we're talking about Dragon Ball Z.
No,
This is
because
not-
you're wrong. Because you're wrong, and I could go through the arcs, and you're wrong actually on how this works.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
So the formula that Fnatic put down is literally every shonen anime in existence completely. That is
How do you
and
layer
that
out
is
the
the
rest of the
thing. You know
shows?
do you know the story, do you know like the writing technique of the hero's journey, not technique. The you know the hero's journey, right? For most stories. Right? Correct?
Yeah,
know how
I know of it. I know of it. Yeah.
You can
I
read
don't,
through
but I don't
every
want to
single
ask
book.
what it is.
And Fnatic, what you basically did was you said you went into like say Narnia to like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe book and boiled it down to the hero's journey and said that's why the story is bad. Or you went into Star Wars and said this is the hero's journey, that's why it's bad. You went into fucking Stargate, this is the hero's journey, that's why it's bad. You went like you basically just did that when laying out the formula.
But there's nothing else to the story. It would be one
No,
thing
that's
if
not true. No,
Bam's
lying. Bam's lying.
No,
Bam doesn't give a fuck about any of the side beats that are happening. That's what he's
No,
telling
I'm
me.
just no.
So,
I'm just saying.
I didn't say this entire time. I didn't
Okay,
say shit. I didn't say shit.
okay, because I'm wrong.
Anyway, what he's saying is all the side beats. He doesn't give a fuck about the android's relationship with. He doesn't give a fuck about Vegeta trying to get strong. He doesn't give a fuck about Gohan and Goten and that story there and Chi-Chi and that nigga training and Videl and Hercule. He doesn't give a fuck about any of that.
Goku doesn't give a F about any of those things. That's the point. Goku has no. All Goku wants to do is fight. Goku doesn't. Goku got married at random. It was basically Goku getting married was basically a filler episode. This nigga has no value for any of his friends or friendships.
He literally does.
This nigga sells the world every chance he gets. Only reason they had
everything I love. I'm not making this up. Goku has literally won some of those fights you're talking about with the power of friendship. I shit you not. Believe it or not, it's happening.
But he doesn't care about any of these people.
That's
Goku acts for the world, the entire universe.
Hold on. Again, this is why it shows that Bam doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's just like spouting, right?
Goku doesn't
like
have
literally,
any
hold on.
empathy. He doesn't care about
Frieza, which I
anything.
brought up before, right? And I said it earlier. Frieza kills his friend, right? And seeing the death of his friend is going to powers him up. And then Bam comes out and says, well, he doesn't give a fuck about any of these people.
2 minutes
Like,
later. You don't even get to feel the consequences of the death because he wished him right back.
No,
he didn't. No, he didn't wish him right back. In order to, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because the thing with Krillin when he died, that was his second time dying. He can't be brought back with Dragon Balls. The only reason why he was able to is because they found out that the Namekian Dragon Balls actually had the ability to multi-res, which that was such a fucking like big surprise. They
went to the planet not to fight Frieza. They went to get the Namekian Dragon Balls. They weren't trying to fight another big bad. Frieza just happened to be there, and there was this entire story about how he blew up Goku's planet. Like I don't like we're just like fuck everything on the side.
Dragon Ball was kind of interesting.
That's why I really
Dragon Ball
hate it
Z
being boiled down. That's why I really hate it being boiled down to the shonen skeleton.
Did Goku do anything to nurture his friendship, nurture his relationship with people?
Boil down anything to the skeleton, of course it's gonna look.
No,
bad.
I'm not talking about the skeleton. I'm saying, tell me something Goku did to nurture the relationships he has with people, or does he train?
I think
the show. I think once you get into like Super and GT and all these things, they even kind of have to acknowledge it. They have like Bulma and people showing up and saying that like, wow, Goku, I haven't seen you in 5 years. You don't give a F about us. All you do is go off and train.
No. Have you ever watched Dragon Ball? Not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
Dragon
I said
Ball.
Dragon Ball.
He just said that. He just talked about
part
Dragon
of
Ball.
it.
Hold on.
It's all
Dragon
part of
Ball. like literally Goku trains his son. He's like, I believe in you, son. You're the one who can do this, right? Like
That's
you can exceed me. And here's how I'm gonna
episodes in the
I
hyperbolic
was,
time
I was
chamber.
trying to get. I was
there,
trying to get to
hold
the
on.
point.
The whole arc, he's like, you are the one who's going to exceed me. Like, I can't be the one to do this. So, like, you have to, right? And so he creates a situation, right? It wasn't just with the hyperbolic time chamber. He creates a situation where his son is the one who takes point, even while he's watching his son get his ass beat, right? And then he's like, oh, as a father, should I be doing this? Should I just be watching this, right?
He gave Cell a Zensu bean. He said, Cell.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Goku don't give a F about his friends. That nigga just want to see a good fight.
He didn't want to see a no.
He risked the entire planet.
Bullshit. No, wait, no bullshit.
Cell was weakened.
Let's go. Hold on. Let's go. Wait, one second. Let's go through this, right? Just talking about Dragon Ball Z. Rat shows up. Goku loses completely, right? He gets washed. He can't beat him, right? And he has to hold down the enemy. So Rat is killed by Piccolo, right? And then he comes back, right? So Nappa and Vegeta come through. And in terms of that cycle that you were talking about, that's like the clearest example where like the friends like can't handle it. They get beat. Goku shows up. Goku handles business, right? Even then, he's still with the assistance of his friends, right? His best friend. If it wasn't for him, he would have lost. Let's not forget that. But whatever. Let's move past that. Android saga, Frieza saga happens, right? His friends go off. He shows up, right? He can beat the Ginyu Force, right? Because he comes later, but he can beat the Ginyu Force, but then he can't beat Frieza. He gets his ass beat by Frieza, and it's literally the power of friendship is what does it, because he cares about this guy. He's watched his friend die twice, right? And he cares about him, and that's what allows him to excel, right? And then the Android saga comes.
Wait. Please don't skip the Frieza thing, because I feel like that's a misrepresentation.
I want to know because I need to know because
I just want to point out.
Hold on. You're gonna wait. Wait. Let me finish, right? And then you guys can make your adjustments, okay? Let me just get out there. So, Android Saga happens. He shows up to stop Mecha Frieza, but Trunks handles that already. And then he goes down because of the disease, right? We find out that he dies otherwise, but then he gets healed up. He shows up to fight the androids, but then Cell shows up, right? And that's a problem. Cell powers up, and then he knows that this guy is going to be beyond him, and so he realizes that he needs to train his son up to handle this issue. He does, and his son is the one who beats Cell, right? So it's not Goku, it is his son. And then after that, we have the Buu Saga, right? And the Buu Saga, an enemy shows up, new, more powerful enemy, fair enough. But the drama there is between him and Vegeta, not actually selling their issues from previous. They're end up fighting, help unlock that new enemy. Goku shows up. Goku's getting his ass beat almost the entire time, right? Looking for a new way to beat him. The way to beat the guy is to combine with Vegeta, right? To actually get over their issues. To combine with Vegeta, the power of friendship to do that, right? But then that split wears off. Gohan could have handled it, but he didn't. He dropped the ball, whatever, right? But finally, with the help of Vegeta, he beats Buu at the end. Then that's it. Right? This isn't the whole cycle of like Goku being the starring role the entire time. This is like sorry, I've said what I need to say. So Fnatic, you can respond, then Razor.
Okay.
And then
so just to be clear, so I had to look it up to make sure, because again, I only watched that Boo Boo anime one time and I didn't want to watch it again. So when it came to, yes, Goku training, he was training on the spaceship on the way to like planet Namek, and then he ended up getting there, and his friends had gotten washed by the Ginyu Force,
Mhm.
and then after they got washed by the Ginyu Force, Goku runs through the entire Ginyu Force with complete ease, and then he finally gets into a battle with Captain Ginyu where he struggles a little bit, right? So that still fits the formula. However, while he's in the battle with whatever, he ends up getting his body switched. Then Ginyu, using his body, fights Vegeta, gets washed. Goku ends up transferring back at the last second. So now he's injured. While he's injured, we're back to that same exact formula because he's put in that capsule because he can barely even freaking move. So he's healing and becoming stronger. While he's injured, his friends get engaged with Frieza and they're getting washed. But Goku can't show up. He's off somewhere training and becoming stronger in this capsule. He finally comes stronger and then fights Frieza. After he's fighting Frieza, like then you know he ends up like they're fighting
Does
whatever.
the Keki Genkai.
Right, and then Frieza killing one of his friends, one with a little
Krillin.
Okay.
yeah, he kills Krillin, and then after that, then Goku is able to transform and end up beating that person. In the Cell saga, I want to point out that this same thing happened. Cell was strong and washing Goku's friends. They couldn't handle him. First, he ran through one person, then he ended up running through Vegeta, and then at that point, Goku showed up. Now, the only difference between this and the other ones, this is what happened. The only difference between this and the other ones is that Goku isn't the final person to defeat him. But what did initially happen was that Cell ran through his friends, hell, even almost killing one of them. Or he absorbed and ate an android, and he washed his friends, both Vegeta and the other niggas, and
Trunks.
then
Yeah.
and Trunks, right? So because Trunks got pissed because he ate the android, Trunks gets washed. One of Goku's friends gets washed, just like in the previous one, just like in the one before that. And so now Goku finally comes out. But again, Goku is off training. He can't fight right now because where is he? In the hyperbolic time chamber. So this time he's in the hyperbolic time chamber. The previous time he was over there in that little capsule. The other time he was literally in a spaceship on the way there. The other time before that he was on planet Kai becoming stronger. I just listed literally 4 subsequent sagas where Goku's friends are getting washed and he's off training and becoming stronger. This is still that formula.
Okay,
the only difference is that they added on the additional thing of, by the way, Gohan was also training and Gohan is actually stronger than Goku. That's the difference. But besides that, it fits the formula perfectly.
Okay, you're God. That fucking was painful. Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, You're
Where?
missing so much bullshit. Oh my God.
Just explain it, Razor.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to let me go ahead and go through a little bit through them. I'm gonna skip the Raditz thing because obviously that happened. Everyone agrees that he died with that one. Whatever. Then the Saiyan saga comes up. It takes the combined effort of Goku, Krillin, and Gohan, and then Yashirobe to actually beat Vegeta. And even then, they barely won. They ended up making it to where the special moon that Vegeta made to make himself a gigantic ape. Gohan looked at it because he still had his tail at the time. Gohan
He
looked at it,
beat everybody's ass.
didn't beat everyone's ass. He started like causing a bunch of mayhem. But then Vegeta cut the tail. But before he could transform back into the little kid form, got crushed under giant ape Gohan, and then he flew away. Then because everyone was dead, they had to go to Namek, where it was said there were special Dragon Balls, as told by Kami. Or not told by Kami, by King Kai. And they ended up, so that's why they went to Namek. The fact they ran to Frieza was complete freak accident. They were not going to Namek to fight fucking Frieza or the Ginyu Force. When they were there, they then saw that Frieza and the group were there because thanks to the Saiyans, Vegeta and Nappa having the scouters, which scouted out to Frieza and his crew, they knew that the Dragon Balls were a thing. Frieza was going to get
their motivations.
Their motivate, yeah, that's the point. It's the motivations are the reasoning. The fact they go into fights is not exactly a big thing. But then we basically understand what happens in the Namek saga. The Android saga is that Trunks comes back from goes into the past, into an alternate timeline because of, I guess, theoretical physics or whatever. And he's basically making a better future. Unfortunately, it's not going to be his own by giving Goku special medicine. being told, "Hey, this is going to happen," but because of his interference, he ends up altering the timeline. And Androids 17 and 18 are Android 17 and 18 are stronger than they are in his timeline, but also Android 6.
What's the point you're
Android
trying to
19
make
and
out here,
Dr.
Razor?
Gero.
I'm not exactly sure.
It's
What
the
you're
fact
saying.
that they're missing
other things happen.
okay, it's the fact that they're missing so much. Like the details that they're
They're talking about the story structure, though. But what they're
No,
discussing
he's
not talking
speaking
about
to
the
the
story
he's
structure.
speaking to the formula.
I understand that. I understand what Fanatic was saying. My argument was I don't find that. I understand that there is some plot. I'm saying I don't think the characters are interesting. I'm saying that, but like whenever wait a minute, whenever you and Prime and Ray, when both of y'all were going through the story, like the concept is going from fight to fight to fight. Like I'm saying, I don't believe that Goku has any interesting character development. I don't think that Goku has a nurturing.
There's a reason for that.
Nurturing. Wait a minute, I don't
There's a
care about
reason.
your reasoning. I don't find it interesting.
It's okay.
Goku's not an interesting character.
Wait, Vegeta wasn't an interesting character to you? Wait, no,
Hold on.
Vegeta wasn't interesting to you at all?
Hold on. No,
More than
because
Goku, but Vegeta wasn't the main character of the story.
Understand that that the reason why you feel Goku is boring or whatever is because he has what's called a flat character arc. He's literally a flat good character arc. The world happens around him. He doesn't happen to the world. The world happens around him.
I disagree. I think that would apply to Luffy.
Frieza, but in the opposite of evil. It's the writing style of these characters. I think,
guys,
I'm trying to understand why, like, because again, you say that okay, you don't like Goku, you don't like this formula. Cool, that's great. Every other amazing piece into these plots, we're just fuck them all. We don't care about Vegeta's whole story with him versus Frieza, how he killed Vegeta and his planet uprooted, and he's the reason that he has all this pride because he's supposed to be a prince. Fuck all that. We don't care about Vegeta's relationship with Trunks, and I finds out that it's his son, and it's that. We don't give a fuck about that.
Maybe if Vegeta actually won his fight with Frieza, maybe you could have created a compelling story. But they didn't do that.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
That's the thing. That's why I was saying I'm getting angry when you guys are just putting out the skeleton of what I'm
not speaking to the skeleton. I just don't think.
So I would compare the story of Goku in regards to the planet Vegeta to Moses. Like literally, they're using tropes of history and different storytelling methods to get this across. This originally came from Journey to the West. So if you look at the original Dragon Ball storyline, it was Journey to the West. A lot of training wasn't necessary. Goku didn't really have to work that hard. He was always just going to be stronger. But as you got different storylines and different tropes going forward, this is what was the backbone of the shonen story type. Without Dragon Ball, you would have no shonen stories that you would like. That's why I call Naruto Pirate Goku. I call Luffy, Ninja Goku and Luffy Pirate Goku. Because he's literally the grandfather.
I'm fine with you saying this is an archetype. I'm fine with that, but that doesn't mean that it's good.
Right? No. But also, by the way, this is not the archetype, and this is what makes freaking One Piece a billion times better than Dragon Ball Z, and it's actually offensive that niggas would even compare.
I almost disagree. I want to disagree with you, Fanatic. Go ahead.
Well, you're gonna disagree. No, you can't disagree because I always root everything in facts. And what I'm going to explain to you is factual, and you can't. There's not a room for an opinion here. The difference is when it comes to freaking One Piece. All of the characters, one, are well defined, where they actually have arcs and developments and motivations and stories of their own. Very, very well fleshed out characters. Secondly, it's not just, hey, I'm Goku and I'm that nigga. I'm Luffy and I'm that nigga. Throughout the entire show so far, it has always been questionable about whether or not whether or not Luffy or Zoro is even stronger. I don't even know yet. I haven't finished the anime yet. I haven't finished it yet. But there have been so many references where Zoro does some insane nonsense. They're coming up against some crazy boss that nobody knows, and they're just like, nigga, this is gonna be tough. Zoro's like, I got this, jumps ahead of the train, washes old boy, and they're just like, wait, that nigga is being controlled by this Luffy dude? That he's a subordinate of Luffy? Right? These people are all individuals. Sanji fights on his own. He's not just a filler there to show, hey, I get washed by niggas and I'm going to go ahead and get destroyed. Sanji will fight a good nigga who's like literally dedicated and designed specifically for Sanji, where his skill set is absolutely necessary. And they do that throughout the entire arc. All characters have their same thing of I'm going to fight something complicated and I have to be intelligent enough to overcome it and I will be a significant thing. If Luffy
And they
didn't
show that
exist
Luffy's
at
not
all,
strong enough to do it by himself.
absolutely. Let me finish. Let me finish. If Luffy wasn't, thank you. If Luffy wasn't at all in the show, if they could do a show with just the other characters and it would still be a viable anime because all the characters are fleshed out niggas in their own right. You cannot compare that to Dragon Ball Z. Stop. What are we talking about?
You absolutely can. And when we're looking down to the bare minimum of what's going on in these stories, you're looking at genealogies. The same problem that I have with One Piece. And I watched your video. It was amazing, but you missed the point that there are genealogies in play. The fact that these people have the D in their name is showing.
Hold on. I haven't gotten that far in the anime yet.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but
you have to acknowledge.
You have to acknowledge that there are D's in certain people's names. There are certain
you just spoiled it.
I haven't spoiled it yet.
God.
I haven't spoiled it
He's
yet.
fucking with you. He's fucking with you.
So when you have people like Zoro is important. Nobody is important in that storyline without a genealogy, without something to draw back to. The same issue is going on.
I disagree on that.
Show me somebody important in that storyline that has no family lineage or no backing in that universe.
I hate this. I'm so
okay, real fast. Hold on. I get stop. Hold on. I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying when he's saying that. It's not that I'm very upset. It's unfortunate you're saying a genealogy, Kai, with that. But they do. But they all have a backstory. They all have a backstory that shows why they are on their adventure, why they are.
Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story.
Why don't we invite Tien to fights? Somebody tell me right now why, when we're having a fight, they call Tien. What does Tien do?
Tien wrecks fucking Cell.
We need you here.
Puts Cell's dick in the dirt.
So
it's 3 niggas that's finna fight. Goku, Vegeta, if Trump from the future, and Gohan if he feel like training that week. Nobody else is doing anything. Why are we calling Yamcha? Yamcha, we need your help.
No. Okay, I'll give you that.
Hold on. Wait. Why are we just downplaying all the backstory? So all of the this shit doesn't make any fucking sense. I swear to God, and I mean this by heart. We could call a show Vegeta. Just take him and put his own story. That story by itself, character arc and all, is dope as fuck.
More interesting than Goku though. But Vegeta doesn't get
I wasn't down. Do the same thing with Krillin. We have a whole show and just call the shit Krillin, story arc and all, and that in itself is his own story. I'm trying to understand, so because one character has a story you don't fuck with. Fuck everything else in this anime? Is what we saying?
I don't think Krillin has an interesting story.
Well, I'm going further. I'm going further than that. So just because One Piece was able to learn and flesh out their characters more doesn't change the reasoning for what these characters are able to do and why they are there. There's a certain backstory, there's a certain genealogy, there's a certain lineage, everything that went along with these characters in many different situations. If you come down to Sanji, there's only one person on that crew I really can't give that to, and that's Nami. And Chopper. Otherwise, everybody has something going on.
But wait, hold on.
Frankie is also one of those.
Okay, but having a lineage doesn't negate the fact that you have your own individual plot and that it's not all of. Well, I hope to God that they're not all of the exact same lineage. I don't know. You might end up.
No, they're not. They're not. Don't worry about that.
If you ever get the chance,
I'll DM you, Prime.
No, do not. Don't. Okay, yeah.
When you get the chance, I just posted into the chat. Totally not one of Totally Not Mark's videos. He is a anime buff, and Dragon Ball is his fucking life. Now it's One Piece because he's been doing One Piece character analyses.
One Piece is better.
But this is Son Goku, the misunderstood character. You are misunderstanding Goku heavily.
You said Dragon Ball is his life. I already don't care about what that nigga got.
My point being, he got popular off of Dragon Ball, and then people said watch One Piece, and he watched, and he was like, "Oh my God, this is 100 times better." Like that was it was like immediately. He's like, "Wow, this is so much better."
I'm not saying One Piece is worse. In fact, I'm a bigger fan of One Piece. It's just I don't like the disrespect.
What is Dragon Ball better than?
Greatest anime.
What's a show that Dragon Ball's better than?
What's a show
that Dragon Ball's better? Are we about to have a objective art conversation
about
art? We're not doing this.
I don't know.
We're not, right? Like,
I'm just saying you're defending it. It must be like it's good.
Check it out. I'll give you an answer right now. So when I watch, let's give like 2 popular ones. When I watch Naruto, I watch it specifically for an intricate story, especially like with the Uchihas. I fuck with them. I have a real fascination with them niggas. And also, I think the fight scenes are better when it comes to actually throwing hands. I watch Dragon Ball Z to see shit explode, to see power-ups and things that I think are really amazing. These are the two different things. And I would say Dragon Ball Z does that way better. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. When Dragon Ball Z have a power-up, be like, yo, this nigga heard Goku cry as a baby, so now he gonna come beat his ass. He gonna beat his ass with a planet like that. I want to watch that.
Again,
that absurd shit is more entertaining to me sometimes than like shit from Naruto.
So hey,
that again, that unfortunately that Broly is an uncanon Broly.
I don't know Broly, but
movie,
that's an untrue thing, and here's why, right? Because what I learned is that what the relative power, it's relative, and it basically is never changing, right? So what happens is in Dragon Ball, the way that they demonstrate power, right? And this is what I realized that this is like the function of the lower friends, right? Is that we can see the fight through their eyes, right? So we see the fight from the eyes of Yamcha or that other one-eyed nigga, and whoever, right? Like, and so we see the fight from their eyes, and what the fight ends up being is flurries of punches that are indistinguishable. And when it goes to a certain even faster level, it's blink, 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 blink. That's what it ends up being. Now, the reason why the power levels are like why I say that they're relative, it's because what ends up happening is whenever they find out there's a new being, they all train in order to be prepared to fight those new beings. And while they're training, they're getting stronger and better. And then the new niggas, they get into fights with them, but eventually they're too much for them. And so then when Goku shows up, he fights that new being, and it starts with flurries and flurries until it starts being bling, 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 or just random teleport and I'm punching you because you can't even keep up with me. And so we still need to be able to see the fight through their eyes, and the fight ends up being that. For example, when we saw the Cell fight, when Gohan was fighting Cell, to the eyes of everyone else that was down there, bling, 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 flurry of punches. That's what we saw. When we saw with Goku and Frieza, bling, 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 flurry of punches. When we saw... Wait, hold on. Wait, let me just ask you, because I love it when people disagree with me. I want to make sure. Are you saying that if I watch the Cell fight, I won't see bling, 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 flurry of punches?
Between Goku and Cell.
Okay, all right, so we will see it. Okay, and I'm sorry.
So, no, wait.
Were you saying that I wouldn't say that with Frieza?
No, it's not the same with Frieza either. He actually showed mercy. Like a lot of the issues that went on.
Wait,
in the Frieza
no, that's
fight.
that's extraneous. I'm saying in the fervor of the fight, when we're looking at the fight through the lens of the lower non sequitur niggas, when they're looking at the fight, are they seeing flurry of punches and bling, 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 bling?
Like every couple of minutes.
That's what we're seeing, right?
Like maybe every few minutes, but then there's obviously
so we are seeing that.
There's actual techniques, and then whenever they're at random moments, they will clash.
It's a mixing of both.
It gets reductive. It does get reductive.
It's a mixture. You're right. It's a mixture of bling, 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 and flurry of punches. And so my point being,
and actual techniques being shown.
No, he's saying when you're looking at it from the perspective, not from Goku's perspective, when you're looking at it from the sidelines perspective. That's what he's saying.
What beat Frieza? Fanatic, what beat Frieza?
I don't remember what the final blow was. I don't remember.
It was his own attack. It was him using the Destructo disc. And
and it came back. And it came back.
And then Goku showed mercy on Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bling flurry of punches.
No. Okay, no. You're pointing out to something extraneous. My point being, because listen, there can always be like small little intersections, right, in a fight, right, that where somebody does something specific. Frieza was on the ground and did the mercy, and then did the attack from the ground. I get that. That's also in the game Dragon Ball FighterZ. Pretty excellent game. Great fan service. So my point being, yes, so that we saw that thing. That didn't change the overall archetype of the fight. The main fight, the entire fight still happened in the same way. Did I watch what versus Goku?
Cell versus Goku.
Of course, and that's where there was bling, 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 and flurry of punches.
That was one of them. That's like one of the best choreographed fights in all of Dragon Ball. Everyone still points to it.
I love it. Okay, so it's one of the greatest choreographed fights of all time in all Dragon Ball. Was there bling, 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 flurry of punches in that battle? If I pull up right now, will I show you that?
Majority of it. Not the majority of it.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Not in the
Silas.
majority of it.
Is this like I don't understand this, but this point though, it's like, yo, I watched Naruto and the fight sucked. The dude kept summoning clones. Like that happened every time he fought.
Okay,
Like what
listen.
the I don't what does that mean?
Hey,
Well, that
I'm not
line says
saying I'm not
Koryu-
saying this again. I'm not saying this because I think
Now, in
Naruto's
all the
also
anime, the fight between
Naruto's also a
Obito
non
and
sequitur.
Kakashi in the
I didn't
Kamui
compare
world.
this to Naruto. I didn't watch Naruto. So I don't know what that is. I'm only judging Dragon Ball in and of itself, right? Because I remember I saw like one episode of the show Yu Yu Hakusho, and I was like, they were doing the literal identical fighting of Dragon Ball, flurry of punch nonsense, bling 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 bling, and I was like, this is literally like, is this the same makers? Like they just literally just did the identical thing. And so someone explained to me that, oh, well, so yeah, but basically like that yeah, they were like heavily influenced and so on and so forth, right? My main point being that when people say that they watch Dragon Ball because the fights are technical or because they like seeing like
No.
these things, and the fight genuinely is bling 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 flurry.
Oh no, I never
It's
said
not
this
about
shit
the
was
fight.
technical. I said I like the like spectacular shit that happens. I like seeing people be like, "What are we gonna fight him with? We're gonna throw a fucking comet at him. That's how we're gonna kill, bro." Like that, I enjoy seeing like over the top crazy explosions and shit sometimes.
So look, hold
So
on,
to me,
guys.
it could,
But
But
just say you like
but
that.
guys,
I wanted to hit
guys,
Fanatic with
really-
something specific. But go
Saying that
ahead.
the entire time.
But guys, here's
I'll
the
shut
thing
up.
though. Here's the thing. The point of this conversation isn't to convince our friend Bam or our friend Fanatic that Dragon Ball is a good show, right? My only point was to defend it, especially when Fanatic called it like an F tier show or whatever
It's
phrase you
relevant.
used, right? Is to defend it on its merits. But if it comes down to preference and what you like or dislike, then we can't change it. Like Bam said, like, well, he doesn't find Goku to be an interesting character. Well, there's nothing to defend there, right? If he doesn't find Goku to be interesting, then it is what it is, right? Then it's fine, right? He gets to have his wrong opinions as always. But
Dragon Ball Z is literally not meant to be.
But like, yeah. So I tried to be nuanced in my defense, right? Because I talked about how like I started off, when I realized anime was a specific art form, how I started off loving that thing that was the pinnacle, but then I saw Naruto, right? And then later on Bleach and all the things, right? And I saw fights that required more like technique and where almost like the battlefield mattered a lot more, things like that, right? So I get the technical shortcomings of Dragon Ball, right? And I can acknowledge those things. My pushback is the thought that the story structure is always the same. I hear that from people who like don't seem to have a clear understanding of the anime, right? Or the story. So like that's like it's just not true. So I that's what I push back against. And I don't think there's not much more that we can do here, right? If you don't like the way it was animated, I agree that there was limitations in the animations, and I think there could have been a lot more. I think there's a version of Dragon Ball done by like a different studio that looks a lot better, right? So I'll give you that. But to say that it's F tier, no, I think that's nonsense, right?
Prime, let me. No, Prime, let me. Please, real quick. I want to address this. So, Fanatic, can you see the parallels to the story of Moses in the story of fighting Frieza?
No, not at all.
So, a individual who knew that there was going to be a legendary Saiyan, much like the Pharaoh knew that there was going to be someone that was going to overtake him, killed off
That's not why Pharaoh did that. That's not why Pharaoh did that. Pharaoh didn't think that there was no like legendary person. The person that you would be thinking of where that happened was the story of Jesus. When like Jesus was like announcing there was going to be like a new prince of Israel or whatever. Like at that point, then King Herod like decided to like slaughter all the babies.
Yeah,
why did Moses end up in the river?
So Herod wasn't doing that because there was like some legendary individual to rise up. He specifically said that these Israelites are increasing in number And if they become too much for us, then they will be a problem. It wasn't because of any individual
That and
legendary thing. Hold on. It wasn't because of any individual like legendary story or any sort of mythology like that. It was simply just raw. These niggas, there's going to be too many of them, and we won't be able to manage them. So we're going to start killing all the boys.
So that's actually so that is that there. Even though it's not the exact 1-to-1, there's still parallel with that, with saying too much won't be able to handle them versus with Frieza, they're gonna find that they're going to find something that I won't be able to handle. They were scared of the
I think
Frieza and his people were scared of the legend of the Super Saiyan.
You're conflating two stories. We're talking about the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh.
You're saying I'm conflating two stories?
Yes, the Pharaoh and Moses, Jesus and like Herod are two different stories.
Right, but what I'm saying was, you said that there was a legend of a powerful being who would overcome him. That didn't happen with Pharaoh. Ramesses didn't believe there was a powerful being who would overcome him. Herod believed that. That's why Herod had them kill the boys. That's a different story. The Pharaoh only believed that there was a number of Israelites would become too great for him, and because he believed that if they became too many and they multiplied, that they wouldn't be manageable, that's why he started killing the boys. I believe that's the story. Am I tripping?
Yeah,
I can look it up in Exodus right now. It really bothers me when people ever question me on the Bible, because that's what I do know.
So
there was definitely a baby that
he was going to be overtaken.
A prophecy. There was someone that was going to overthrow Pharaoh.
There was not
he was going to be overtaken, not by one specific. Like it would have to be one specific Hebrew baby that was going to overtake.
I'm gonna look it up, but if I'm right, I'm gonna pop off. I'm letting y'all know now.
Yeah, that's fine.
You will absolutely.
He wiped out the entire planet of Vegeta because these people were going to be a problem for his hierarchy in the future. And he managed not to wipe out one that got sent away, like upriver, and came back later
also
to
Broly.
wipe him out. Yeah, Broly's another one, but
to be sure. But yeah,
who is the legendary Saiyan is the question all the way through.
Okay, I'm Googling it, and what I'm reading is the decision by Pharaoh of Egypt to wipe out the Israelites, as described in the Bible, is rooted in fear and the desire to maintain power. According to the book of Exodus in the Old Testament, the Israelites had settled in Egypt and were growing in number. A new Pharaoh who did not remember the contribution of Joseph, an Israelite who had risen to a position of power in Egypt, became concerned that the growing Israelite population could be a threat. As I said, it wasn't about a mythology. Hold on, it wasn't about a mythological figure like Jesus, who was a king, a rumored king, a prince would be born, a child who was a legend who would usurp him. That's what was the fear of Herod. The reason why he did that was not the same thing. What he said was, it's a growing population, and if they grow in too much in number, we won't be able to control them. These are two distinct things. You said at the beginning, if I remember correctly, and I always remember correctly because my memory is dang near infallible, you said that when it came to the Saiyans, when it came to Frieza believed that there was a legend, that there would be a specific figure who would rise up and overthrow him. That was a legend and a mythological figure. Okay. That was not what happened when it came to Ramesses, aka the person over the Egyptians. Please do not ever question me when it comes to the Bible. That's what I know.
Okay, real fast. Hold on,
not a 1-to-1, but it's pretty damn close.
Let me. Okay. Could you I just need that very first part of what you started with. What was King whatever his face fucking.
Herod.
It was out due to fear and
Herod was the Jesus portion, but Pharaoh felt that
the Pharaoh's decision
were going to.
No, real fast. I'm trying to be sure I'm hearing this correctly. The Pharaoh's decision to try and wipe out the sons of Egypt, the Jewish sons, it was out of fear of losing power and the power, right? Okay. Thank you. That's the reason Frieza wipes out the Saiyan race. The differences are that one was overpopulation in the Bible. With Frieza, it was fear of this legend. Kai did slightly mess up in the sense of like saying the connection with the Bible, only in the sense of what was the reasoning for the
A
genocide
powerful ruler
of
feared the people, committed genocide to make sure that they wouldn't rise. Like we don't have to stay. The fucking,
Yes,
if you
It
want to,
seems like a pretty similar
if you want
allegory.
to say close enough, we can call it
it's
close enough.
extremely
Like, we ain't
similar.
gotta-
There's just a very small, a very small difference. One is something's going to overtake. The other one is just, and the other one.
Wait a minute,
You
is-
thought
guys,
this
guys. The
I was
reason
about to say.
the reason why he popped off is because he
Yeah.
questioned his understanding of the Bible, right? Made a specific claim about the understanding of the Bible, and that's
But
why
there was even outside of
Well, it
like
was two
comparisons
different
to Dragon
stories. We
Ball,
were
there
comparing
actually
two
there is a
different
legitimate
stories.
prophecy. Like, well,
No,
depending on the
Fanatic isn't wrong.
interpretation,
Fanatic
there is
isn't
a
wrong.
prophecy involving a specific, like someone would unite the Jews against a pharaoh. Like
No,
it would,
no,
because
that
they
wasn't.
they only killed males.
we're
for
not
that
even, no,
reason.
we're
It
not
wasn't
even, we're
just
not even
general
trying to have that
population.
anymore. We're not even trying to have that
No,
discussion
no,
anymore. We're not even
no,
trying to have that
because
discussion anymore.
because killing males are obviously going to be harder to manage. Obviously,
we're not even
so
gonna-
when you look at
we're
like
not even
war
trying-
and when you look at like who's going to usurp you, you think it's going to be a bunch of women? They can
I'll
barely
just
get
read-
out of the
I'll just
kitchen. What are we
find the verse.
talking
It was
about?
definitely
Yeah, we're
specific-
not
Well,
even-
what I was saying
we're
was
not
I
even
did
trying
not
to
bring
have
up the
that
story of
discussion.
Herod and Jesus. I was bringing up the story of Moses and Pharaoh, and that's where I
Well,
said the conflation was. But you are
Yeah,
correct.
but you were
and
wrong
you have-
because the Herod is the one where there was a legend, mythological
It
figure.
doesn't
that-
It
matter.
wasn't
that's
what
so
that was,
we-
yeah.
Doesn't matter what the
That's
reasoning
okay.
was. Doesn't matter what the reasoning for the slaughters were. They both are the comparison is that they both feared losing their power and hierarchy.
And so they committed a genocide.
Pharaoh and Frieza and his people.
So like I don't what is I'm so lost right like yeah we can say the same actually there was a game it was called God of War the same shit like what the fuck are we doing right now
Yeah, I
this
don't
is-
I don't know what the point is. Like,
Well, I thought we were
Mordecai.
going to do other things. I was about to say,
I'm
Yeah,
saying
I think
it's
this
good
Exodus story is-
storytelling based
Bro,
off
the
of.
no, but the Exodus,
The
the,
Exodus-
ex,
the
the Exodus,
reason why I was getting
the
mad
Exodus
this entire
correlation is
time
spurious
because
at
you're
best.
ruining the reason why I was getting mad this entire time is because you are having this fucking discussion where you're bad mouthing one of anime's greatest like fucking one of anime's greatest stories that led the fucking way for all the greater stories that came and saying that because it's a certain story structure therefore
keep saying
bad.
it's a Godfather thing. I don't care that it's a Godfather thing. If either it's good or it's not good.
It's
There was an
it's
original
the
story.
beginning.
There was one person who told a story that set a foundation for telling all future stories. That doesn't mean that first story is good because it came first.
No, it's
Yeah,
good.
You
when
wouldn't have
actually
those stories
understand
otherwise.
But that doesn't make
story.
that story
we're
good.
not Razor,
It
we
can have
can't
its
have
importance.
we cannot have an objective conversation about art. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah,
I'm trying
no,
to say
it's
something.
just
You
not
can't do
a
it.
But hey, really quickly,
Talk about
hey,
this.
I'm sorry. I want to walk it back. I didn't realize like how similar these stories were. So what I'm reading now, it sounds like that that they did have in common that they both wanted to maintain power and that they both like suppressed and like annihilated a large group of people in order to maintain that power.
That's essentially what I was getting at. I wasn't
Right.
trying to trigger you.
For sure,
I was
sure,
just
and
trying
to be
to
100%
Show
like
the illusion.
yeah, and the story of Exodus, and I mean literally what the word Exodus translates to is a story about coming out. So the whole purpose of the story of Exodus is about the migration of the Israel people and their escaped from Egypt, right? In order to discover their new promised land, and in that vein, then all the Saiyans left the planet, and then they came to Earth, and then like kind of reestablished their home like collectively on another planet, right? So then I could see where these stories were like really similar because Frieza was wiping them out, and so then they needed to flee that place and come to. Wait, that's not in the story, right? Wait, so
Well,
as far as I know,
no,
the
it
only story is
is,
just
but it's
suppression of
not.
people with power. No, it's not.
No.
Well,
They
the
did send
Saiyans were sent out.
they did send Saiyans off to
They
other
sent
places so that
Saiyans
they
out.
could survive.
Yeah, to conquer.
But I'm smiling because I was
not
on
even just
the
to
raw
conquer.
end.
Like Vegeta's little brother was sent off to another planet so he could survive. Like that did happen in Dragon Ball Z, but it doesn't. Like I'm saying, this doesn't. Yeah, that happened, but it doesn't honestly matter. Like we don't
I'm
have
mostly
to.
smiling because I was on the raw end of fanatic
Oh, Jesus
misunderstandings,
Christ!
and I can handle it like an adult. It's not a problem.
Of course, Leethy's always the best person on the planet. And also, just to point out, thank you, Bible. Someone pointed out that it wasn't that they sent those people off to try to like survive and so on and so forth. They sent those other people off to conquer because Saiyans were supposed to be like
They
literally
didn't-
just dominating the other people. They
So
weren't
no-
sending them specifically
It was
like
part of
this
Frieza's
wasn't
army.
this wasn't like the
Some of them-
Kal-El Superman story where they sent them
some
off
of them
because they were
were.
going
No,
to.
Some of them were. Some like Vegeta and Raditz were sent to just conquer. Fucking I forget Vegeta's little brother's name. I think he was sent off to survive or train. Goku
He
was
didn't
literally sent
exist
off.
in Z.
Wait,
Nigga, I'm bringing up Dragon Ball Z characters. Relax. But Vegeta's little brother was sent off to, I think, to either train or survive. I can't remember exactly. Raditz and Vegeta were
Kappa.
definitely sent to conquer, and then Goku was sent off to
Kappa.
survive.
No, he was sent to.
Goku was supposed to conquer. He hit his
Goku was
head
supposed
and
to conquer,
forgot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it
only-
Bro-
that-
what- or is it
Super
Broly I'm thinking
retconned
of?
it. Super
No,
retconned
the-
it, actually. Super
yeah.
retconned it.
Or is it
was
Broly I'm
Bardock-
thinking of?
It was only
He said
Kakarot.
Bardock had a
Kakarot
sense-
was the only one.
Bardock had a sense that Bardock had a sense that Frieza was going to do something bad, so to be safe,
sent his
he
kid
sent his
off.
son off to Earth. That's
Yeah.
that-
You got retcon.
Yeah.
They
Goku,
did get
Goku.
retconned.
So Goku was the only one who was sent to survive. That was the Superman
Yes.
story.
Was Broly sent off too?
But again,
That was later. That was
no,
later. That
he,
wasn't
no,
the main
Broly
story.
was
in the
supposed to
Broly
be
movie,
killed.
him and he was going to be killed by Vegeta, the King Vegeta. So his father took him and left.
yeah.
So
Okay.
the-
Look.
no,
so,
no, wrong. Sorry.
Okay,
Actually,
no,
gotta
no,
keep
no, no,
going.
no,
We
no,
don't
no,
have
you
to
don't have to go
go
through it.
down
You don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through
I
it.
like
Does-
this voice
hold on. Oh my God. You talked a lot. You don't have to go through it. I'm saying that, like, look, the only reason why we engaged in this was simply to have a discussion as to whether this is a good anime, right? Not that it's the greatest anime, not that they should like the anime, but whether it's a good anime, right?
Important
and
anime.
that's well, I don't know. They would even
I
argue if
disagree
it's
with
important.
important.
They wouldn't
That's
argue
not
that. But it's like whether it's a good anime. They said it wasn't a good anime, and so that's what started the conversation. But we can't get into us like deciding objectively like this is great and you should appreciate it for its greatness. It's like it's not going to happen. If they don't like it. They don't like it. That's why I was trying to. I said that 20 minutes ago, guys.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be real
We've
with you.
had a
Listen,
good time.
we have. This has been a great conversation. I'm going to point out something. You know, I think for some people, you know, losing your virginity might be like a pretty momentous occasion. And because of that, then you put like a lot of stock in that. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have better sex as you get older, as you like, you know, maybe get married and like actually start having, you know, sexual relations in the sanctity of marriage, you know, blessed by, you know, God and Jesus Christ. In those cases, then you're going to eventually learn the body of the person. You're going to have much better sex. Now, you might say, well, this was the first one. And so it was like obviously a momentous thing. It doesn't mean that it was actually good. It means it was probably pretty bad. You might not even last as long. You had no idea what the freak you were doing. Basically doing push-ups in the vagina. That's not what sex is. You don't know any better. And in the same way, Dragon Ball was trash. When it came out, the story had no depth to it. The characters had no depth to it. The animation was boo-boo because that was the animation of the time. But we can look at it and say, hey, it was great for its time. It was great for its age group, and it was great like in like kind of ushering like and showing that there was a great appetite for these type of things. And so that was really, really great at that. Likewise, I'll say Street Fighter 2, or Street Fighter, not Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter. That was a great game for its time. It was the first fighting game. Well, actually, Karate Champ was. We're going to ignore that.
Yeah.
Street Fighter was the first real fighting game because Karate Champ was a whole different kind of a beast, right? I love that game too, though. Anyway, but if we look at Street Fighter now, we can see the animation is clunky, the controls are clunky, there's not that much depth in it, and we can see how much more we've expanded. I'm not going to hold on and be like, well, Street Fighter is still great because it paved the way. What I will say was, it was iconic, it was informative, and it was a necessary initiator. But do I feel like it's good in and of itself? No, it's not good in and of itself. All of the things that it spawned are really, really good. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is really good. Probably one of the best fighting games, if not the single greatest fighting game ever created. That happened because of Street Fighter. I'll give you that. But are we going to sit there and go back and say because this thing spawned from this thing that it's good? If Hitler produced like some amazing child that went on to do great things, does that mean Hitler was really good because look at what he created? No. We look at the new thing and say, okay, maybe like, yes, it came from this thing, but we don't give the properties of the greatness to its predecessors, right?
I give it to 2. I'd give it to like Street Fighter was good.
Okay.
We didn't get the idea. Street Fighter 2 is still good. It's still great, and we still play it to this day in tournaments.
MVCI, I don't know where that came from.
There's obviously that Daigo Perry.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 2
we're,
was amazing.
we're gonna have to ignore the MVCI crap. I don't know where that's coming from, and I think he might be trolling me.
I'm not. No, I genuinely. No, I don't want to
King
get
of Fighters.
but
King of Fighters is actually like the birth of great fighting games.
Ultra. Nah, nigga, I'm not doing that. This
Deal
Mexican
for
up here is
later.
over here trolling me. I'm not. We don't have to get into it, but I'm just gonna say for the record, I genuinely do believe Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was the greatest game in the Marvel series by a lot, legitimately. As someone who loved and played all of the games at a very, very high level and has a name in all of the Marvel series. Well, I didn't, not Marvel vs. Capcom 1, but Marvel 2, Marvel 3, I did that. But I'm saying NBCI
I'd love
just
to hear your explanation on that later on.
We'll do that at a later date, bro. I promise you. I'm
Okay.
down for that.
I think the third time having sex with someone is the best time.
This nigga.
I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I will not play.
So you agree that Dragon Ball Super is amazing?
No,
Awesome. You agree.
guys.
You're awesome.
Guys, we don't
Great
have
animation.
to.
It has a good. It has a
Hold on,
relatively.
Bam.
We got to give this random thing. I can say my random thing
Yeah.
too.
Bam. Go ahead.
Yeah. Think about it. So the first time you have sex with a new person, the energy is hot. It's really exciting. Don't there's nothing like new pussy. I can't. I have to admit it. Something about that, something new is crazy. And you do it, and you're like, God, like this is gonna be great, and you're excited. But you honestly don't always put on your best show because you're feeling each other out. You don't want to go crazy because you don't really know what she likes yet. So then you the first time you like, wow, we did it. So then the second time you're like, okay, let's do it again. Like we've done it once, so I'm building up my confidence, but I still don't want to go crazy. But I have an idea of what she likes. And I'm gonna lean into those things and like test my judgment to see if these things really work. So then you do it the second time. You're like, okay, I learned a little bit. I thought that she does really like that thing. She didn't like that other thing as much as I thought she did. But you know, we've gotten new information. But that third time, you're like, you know what? Done it twice now. Let's just go all out. Let's give her all the moves we got. We going in. We going finna go crazy. And that's it. You go crazy the third time. And then she goes crazy the third time. And you're like, wow, this is great. I don't know. But that's been my experience with almost every girl I've been with. If I've had sex with them 3 times, the third time usually is like the peak. It tends to like dip.
So you've never had a one-hit wonder?
Yeah, I've had girls I've been with once, but I'm saying of the girls, like
no, that was a wonder, like that was exceptional.
Oh, a one time. Yeah, no, I think I've had that was good, but I felt like even in those situations that were good, it could have been better if with a second shot.
Yeah, I give 100% every time. Like
there it is.
I don't.
Okay, bro. My bad, dog. Save some pussy for the rest of us, yo.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you don't try, but are you spitting in her mouth on the first time?
Wait a minute, is that 100? I mean, if that's your, I mean, I don't do that at any time. I don't spit in anyone's mouth. I don't spit in anyone's mouth.
But I'm using spitting in the mouth as an example of like you might have a trick that's not for everybody that you don't pull out on your first time. Is what I'm saying.
Not on my list. That one's not on my list.
Well, hold on. That's I get what you're saying and learning that, but like I have tricks that I would do my first time. Like I would. It's I don't consider like pulling out some other trick, right, that may or may not be for her, like going above and beyond, right? It's just like saying, let's sort you into a category, right? There are categories of women who like this, and that, right? And I'm going to find out which one you're in. But in terms of my effort, I'm going 100% every time. Like,
yeah, no, I wouldn't question your effort. I'm talking about like overall experience and enjoyment. I'm like, oh, okay, by the third time, like my effort's there because I want you to have a good time. But now I feel like I feel like I have a better understanding of who you are. It's still generally new, and I can like, you know, at this point, you see I'm a good person. You know I'm not crazy. So now if I spit in your butt, you can be like, whoa, that's a little different. Like, but you understand it. Like, I'm not. I see what
you're saying. Maybe you're saying something different than I was saying. All right. Well then.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm not sure about you other guys, but you all have to say on that.
Yeah, I'm looking for puddles. Like we're trying to make puddles when it happens
on day one.
On day one.
On day one.
We're trying to win on day one.
Y'all
messing around.
Y'all some sick niggas.
I mean, the few times that I've actually had like one night stands.
No, the fuck I don't. I've been fucking since I was 13. What are you talking about? I've been fucking for a minute, dog. A decade.
I'm right here with Solis. Been fucking since I was 12. Like,
you come slow
make
song,
puddles.
You go in there, you do this.
Man.
You be rubbing hands like Birdman. That's that.
No, I don't. Fuck, I don't.
I bet you bite your lip when you look at her.
I don't.
Bite your lip right now. Come on, bite your lip, bro. I know you be biting your lip, bro.
Well, Bam, I'm not just looking at
Hey,
every
yo.
single woman that I'm not just looking at every single woman I'm fucking. You know, sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes she don't even take her clothes off, man. We not our history not the same, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not different game, different lane, folks.
Wait, you
Souls
wait,
is
you a
speaking
Chicago
truth.
nigga. Y'all be running trains, don't you?
No, what the fuck? Hell no.
That's
I ain't
a
never.
Chicago nigga thing.
Hell no.
I heard about the
man.
niggas in Southside Chicago.
No, bro. No,
heard it. I
I ain't
heard
never. I ain't never
trains
in my
from
life
end to end.
ever in my life even thought about no nasty freaky ass shit. Hell no, bro. I'm putting my dick where another man's dick just was. Just what? Hell no, folks. No.
Like for the record, Bam, I've been in that situation. I left the room.
Really?
Well, he
Not my
would.
jam.
I mean,
Man,
he's
but the funny
But he's
thing
also
is,
asexual.
But I'm saying I don't know. I don't think it would matter. That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, you're already ace. I'm like, you're comfortable having sex. Like you're doing it for them anyways. I didn't. So it's interesting that like that would make you uncomfortable. I mean, you still have you're allowed to have your boundaries. I just don't understand the mind of an ace person.
But Bam would be on the side like Michael Jordan getting subbed in with a flu. He'd be on the side watching Shorty get.
I'm gonna be leaning
Wait, are you
in.
talking like are you talking like
No,
orgies or something?
No,
No, it's a train. Like
it's
literally,
orgies with only one girl.
in my hood,
Yeah.
motherfuckers would invite all the homies over when there's one chick there, and shit would go down, and they're like, "Hey, you want in?" I'm like,
No,
"Y'all have fun with that shit.
Oh,
I'm gonna
fun
see you
out. Y'all
later."
have a good time. No, folks, I'm good, gang.
I've been prison at trains. But yeah,
Nah,
You was
I'm
what
what
the
can be.
fuck
I'm
is
what.
it?
I'm
God,
what.
wait, no, I'm sorry, Razor.
What?
My trap card's been enacted. You gonna get these jokes? What the fuck you mean you was present at the train but didn't participate? What does that mean, man?
You leave the train or you get on the train.
You was just
There is no
spectating.
middle
What the fuck?
ground.
You was giving commentary. What the fuck you mean you was present?
Sometimes it happens.
He was holding up numbers.
No, it's a conversation. No, a train. Like, first of all, a train is like a train starts through a conversation. Like
No,
it's
it does not.
It's a girl over here.
Sometimes like, you can be in
and
the
then,
middle
like,
of it.
you
Your
hear
friend's
stuff,
like, "Hey,
and
come
then,
over
like,
here."
niggas come in like, blah, 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 like, "Hey, you think she'll let me hit too?" And it's like, well, no, we can see. And then you like, "Hey, you mind?" And she don't say nothing. And she's like, "Okay." So now it's two people. So now there's two people. If you got like two more niggas in there, they like, "Oh snap, she doing that." I don't think I want to hit, but I might get some head if she offering, if it's just available. And then they're like, "Hey, Bam, you trying to get in?" And I think about it, and I'm like, "Nah, I don't like that. I'm good. Y'all do y'all's thing though. I'm gonna chill in this other room. I'm gonna play the game. I'm gonna do something else."
Yo, chilling in another room while your man's them is busting down and checking this nasty work. This nasty work.
And it was because of white women.
What was it?
Okay, that's different.
It's
for
always a white
you.
woman.
That
Y'all
just got
Soul is
nasty.
speaking
Southern
truth.
That
niggas.
story was all right, and then you just made it
Nah,
disgusting.
y'all Southern niggas is nasty, bro. It's always a white woman with y'all. Y'all some nasty motherfuckers, bro.
But
I mean, I've been to
My
South
district,
Florida, so I've seen-
my
I've
district
seen
rep is
black
Marjorie
women
Taylor
doing
Greene.
that
I come
too.
from where they make
Let's
white
not
people.
pretend.
fanatic.
I've actually been to like sex parties.
Razor, you're the
Razor.
work in this story. You are the
Wait,
work in this
you be
story. I
wearing
promise you.
Wait a minute, you done had your earmuffs on at the parties?
Bro, Razor was the work.
Those are
What are you
your
talking about?
That razor was not the
No,
work. Don't put
Razor
razor.
was-
Soul is stop. No,
Razor
Soul
was
is stop.
definitely the work. Right? They definitely brought Razor little ass in. They didn't motherfucking brought him in. They said, "Hey man, we got some persona you want to play." He was done. It was over with. He wasn't. That nigga was
No, Soul is stop.
Razor's too tall to be the work.
You foul.
Could you imagine him passing around his tall like he?
I guess I just don't know the slang, so that's why it's not hitting.
So Razor. So he's saying basically you were the one
He
being
said you were a bottom.
having a train run on.
I don't think they let 6'5" people be bottoms.
No. But that's what I said about Dwight Howard. That shit made me. That's another story for
but-
another day. That's what.
Yeah, no,
Fanatic is
I'm
a
like
man of
top of top.
Fanatic is a man
let's
of
not
God,
pretend.
and he's like he doesn't understand all of these things. He's like a little lost here. Like,
I'm a
This is
top
hood.
of top.
This
so
is
we're
fucking
not-
hood culture right here.
Okay.
I'm
I've
celibate,
seen the
so
dude, and I say man
As
because
am
they're not a
I.
trans person that Dwight Howard hooked up with. I thought they looked like a woman. I thought it was a woman. Ain't gonna lie. And then I was like,
Right
oh,
for them.
not.
All I thought was if it set like 3 7-foot gay niggas fucking is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. Of all of my things in NBA history I would have heard, that was the funniest shit. Bro, gang.
He was like
Real?
5'7".
What
But
is
in my
his
narrative, but in my story, when I tell it, the funnier version, that nigga was 6'11". That nigga was 25 and 15 in the paint when I tell a fucking story.
Okay.
That's rough.
I don't know.
Don't worry about
even
it.
know.
We'll talk about it later. Don't worry about it.
No. I'm saying like I don't know how we even got here. I
Oh,
oh yeah.
Fanatic was
it
telling
started-
a story about sex getting better, like as you learn the person. And that
It was a weird analogy to
to
try and justify why
Yeah.
saying Dragon Ball sucks.
It wasn't weird. It was
yeah.
1-to-1.
No, it was
the
good. It was
initial
a
thing
really
is
good example.
trash, and then things get better or after it. But that doesn't mean that the original
Well,
thing
Dragon
was
Ball
better
Z Kai
because
has
of
I
been
it.
can
made.
say
Dragon Ball Z
in
Kai has
my-
been made, which is a redo of all the animation, and it's crisp, clean, and the story is still solid.
In my experiences, one and dones have been probably the best. And the original Baki was a one and done, and I want to say it hasn't gotten exceptionally better.
I
You
didn't
mean
know
But
what
it's
it
still
was.
something
the
I
Grappler
appreciate.
Baki, or
Yeah, Grappler Baki was initially a one and done. It wasn't until 10 years later that there
That we
was an
got
entire series. And so, like, literally, one and dones tend to be your best experiences because you don't have to worry about whatever comes.
Damn, you a motherfucking lie. You was a motherfucking lie.
What you looked up? Looked them
Bro,
up.
this motherfucker is built like fucking 25 points a game. Your ass is a motherfucking lie.
I think it looked like a girl to me.
Wait. Hold on.
I don't want to play. I don't want to play.
We're not gonna play. I just want to make sure. So just to be clear, I just want to make sure everybody's informed about what's happening right now. So you guys are looking up Dwight Howard's gay sex partner? That's what you guys are looking at?
Yes.
Allegedly.
Can you send me a picture? Because I don't know.
I mean, he was in. I mean, they went to court for it. He admitted he likes to have a good time.
Yeah, send me a picture because I don't know what you guys.
I mean,
talking
nothing
about.
wrong
That's
with
what he
it.
said.
Like,
Wait. What did he say?
whatever.
Dwight Howard had the funniest shit. What he said?
I just want to know what the fuck
I'm
you're
not
talking
gay.
about.
He said, I'm not gay. I just like being a little freaky every now and again. And I was like, Dwight, bro. Dwight.
He's homo curious. He's bi-curious.
And he was nasty with it. What Dwight Howard did, bro, him and another dude was going to get it on, right? But then when that was going to happen, they pulled another 7-foot nigga out the
They
closet.
brought a third nigga out. That was what did it. Because the nigga was like, all right, I'm with this. And then a third nigga came into play. And it was like, I'm not with this. But I think the third nigga really did look like Michael Jordan with a mustache. For real. That's the second nigga.
This
I
is
thought it was
dirty
like,
work.
I don't.
I thought it was a girl. The third nigga.
Bro, they was
a nigga.
about to pick and roll the fucking
I don't. Okay.
Where are we?
I don't want it. Prime, save us.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
Where are we?
I don't know where to take
Did
it.
you send it?
I can send a picture if you want to see, Shorty. I got you.
Yeah, send me a
You
picture.
even say
Hold
shorty.
on.
Put it in the chat.
Is this
Now, after like 5 seconds, you know, obviously this is
Let
man.
me. So, going back to the other thing. Oh, let me take a look. Oh, wow, what the fuck is this link? Oh my god! All right, let me take a look.
It's a link to the sex tape.
Let me just take a look at this real quick. Oh, wrong one. Fuck.
Wait, wasn't there another topic? I forgot. When we supposed to get into the?
Yeah, we're supposed to.
That's literally across the bottom of the screen
Yeah,
right
it
now.
was
Kamala
Kamala
Harris. And
Harris.
these niggas don't like. Why are they talking? We're talking about Dragon Ball Z.
We ended
and
up on
Dragon
Dragon Ball.
I'm gonna have to
and
disagree
we-
with you, Bam, on this one. I'm sorry.
Hey, which one he sent? Let me
I
look.
say Prime wins. Like Prime
Is this
managed
the
to
one
take
with
one
the
topic.
good
and
weave?
Ain't no good weed for this.
I'm sorry
Ain't
about
no-
that.
Wait, there ain't no good weed for this. This motherfucker should have went to the league, bro. She fucking with the wrong Browns. I'm trying to tell you, this is not. Hey,
Seen anything.
I don't know how you would have made a mistake there.
Wait, is Dwight Howard? Is he the one that's married to Gabrielle Union?
Yeah.
no.
Oh, isn't it?
No,
Oh, I thought it
no,
was.
no, no,
Okay.
no. Dwight's
That's
not
Dwayne
married.
Wade.
That's
Who-
that's Dwayne Wade, bro. That's the
There we go. I always this is DW. I always get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
I
You know,
wouldn't
that
have
would've
made
been
that
a-
mistake.
That would have been the
I wouldn't-
craziest twist of the history of the NBA. They would have if it was D Wade that came out the closet for. If they,
Well,
I'm glad it's not in the
if
chat.
he did, it would answer some questions. I'm saying because I think Blackville's been asking these questions for a long time. So yeah.
no, original was fucked up.
Oh,
Originally it
come
was Chris
on,
Bosh.
Fanatic, for real.
No. That was the thing.
thing.
No. that was some real
Dang.
shit. No, what happened was it was Chris Bosh, bro. Everybody thought folks was gay, and we owe that man an apology
Well-
because people kept saying Chris Bosh was gay, and he wasn't. That was really who was catching heat.
Wasn't it about his kid?
No,
Oh,
it wasn't
was that
just.
why?
Well, his kid was on the back burner. At first, it was Dwayne Wade and his wife. Was saying a lot of weird shit that they like to get around, if you catch my drift. And then it was, hey, Dwayne Wade is painting his fingernails. And niggas was like, okay, Dwayne Wade, you got some freaky shit going on with your wife. You be painting your fingernails. I'm pretty sure I seen you at a Diddy party or two. This weird. And then Dwayne Wade's kid came out as trans. And then the whole hood was like, nigga.
That's literally where the distillation came down to. The smug look on Fanatic's face.
No,
says every
I
bit
didn't
of
say
it.
anything.
You don't have to. Your face said it all.
Wow. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, if people made these associations and observations, I'm saying, like, I'm just saying it doesn't sound necessarily crazy. I mean, they're not necessarily correlated. We don't know that had anything to do with one another. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, it was kind of crazy, and those were the questions niggas was asking.
Yo, Gabrielle Union said, and I
Gabrielle
quote,
Union do be eating a lot of butt though.
No, Gabrielle Union said she was having a conversation mentoring young women, and she said, and I quote, "You're not gonna die with your pussy. Use it." And I was like, I didn't heard some scallywags, some Jezebel spirits say some shit in my life, but that one right there, I ain't never heard no shit like. Folks said you ain't done with this motherfucker. You better use it.
No, in her memoir, she talked about. She said that she was hoeing. I'm talking about
God,
she was getting it in, and I'm mad I missed it.
Yeah, I was like, that's what I'm thinking.
I love Gabrielle Union, but she said
oh my God, yeah.
I loved Gabrielle. I loved Gabrielle Union too.
Yeah.
Even all the way back. What was the movie? What was that movie with
Bring It On?
Was it Bring It On? No,
that was her introduction.
Yeah. But the one with Morris. Is that his name? No, not
Chestnut. Morris Chestnut.
Was that
LL Cool J?
The Best Man.
Deliver Us from Evil.
The actual thing.
I think it's the Best Man. It is the Best Man. No. It was the one, bro, where she dated his dad. It was like a whole thing. And she was fine as hell in that movie. It didn't make no sense. You know what I'm talking about?
They did that. That sounds familiar.
Is it the brothers?
Not gonna deny.
Is Gabrielle Union and the brothers?
They were about the same time.
Let me see.
Well,
that one, bro, she was cooking. The brothers, Gabrielle. I'm pretty sure it might be that one.
Probably was that one.
It is. It's the brothers. You're not going to look at that movie and tell me that she wasn't 10 out of 10 in that.
I'm just glad she said this shit when D-Wade retired. Because if Kobe would have heard this shit back in the day, if Kobe would have heard this shit,
Kobe was bullying.
I mean, she knows about it. Like I said, she didn't put it in a memoir, but they called her out on. They was like, because she was like, yeah, I'm eating all the niggas' butts, and they was like, Gabrielle Union, like men don't like that, and she's like, and she said, quote unquote, that's what they're saying. That's not what's happening.
That's true.
These niggas are getting their butts ate, and I believe it. Niggas are getting their butts ate out here. Yeah. And the only reason I won't do it is because I'm terrified that I'll like it.
I just know I would have never guessed while I was watching
Fanatic. I already been there, right? I had been with two girls who were into it. I didn't request it; they just wanted to do it. Right? It's okay. It's okay. I wasn't like in love with it, but it was okay. It's fine.
Come on, man, get your rim job.
Yeah,
get your rim job.
Yeah, it's like it's not a big deal. Fanatic, don't worry about it. All right, it doesn't say anything about you.
He seems concerned.
Listen, I'm a pass. Listen, I believe the Bible definitely says that the marriage bed is is undefiled. That don't mean that everything needs to be tried. It also says that all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. Some things you just don't need to do. You know what I mean? I feel like what.
Would you eat a girl's butt?
I'm getting the rack. I'm getting the X. I'm getting the horse. I'm getting all of it.
I have never, and I believe that
I need the whips. I need the chains. I need the crops.
I'm gonna marry a demure and holy and sanctified woman that doesn't need all that sorts of nonsense.
But
yeah, and holy and sanctified, she's not gonna need all that stuff. So I don't have to worry about it.
But
that's what I want.
But
okay, but if I was like, if I'm married, right, and this is where it gets gross. Okay, I believe, like, in a marriage, your job is to truly fulfill everything in that person that they need fulfilled, right? So then at that point, if somebody really like wanted that, I probably have to. But that's why I believe God would never put on me more than I could bear. and he wouldn't give me a wife that needed that. You know what I'm saying? Because I just
Okay,
don't
so
feel like
pegging.
I'm
So
not supposed
if
to be
you're-
doing all that.
Wait,
No,
I just
I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna play.
No. I
So
just want to
pegging.
just give me the ball for 3 seconds. I just want to understand. So y'all dead ass don't think race is the work? Y'all serious about that? Y'all, this nigga just said he wants whips and chains and all. Y'all don't think folks
Yeah,
will work?
I'm the top.
All right, gang. That's brother. You're right. I believe you. Jay.
Yeah, and I think there
I
are
tie
limits.
her to the rack.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
if I need to be violated for you to get your rocks off, then that means you don't respect me. And at that point, then we don't have a marriage. It's not gonna work.
No, yeah, no.
If you need to see me subdued, it's like, oh, you don't even respect my masculinity. What are we talking about?
Wait,
No,
hold on,
I'm
wait,
crazy
hold on,
about
hold on,
you.
hold on.
I'm talking about the problem.
So no, hold on, what are you saying, fanatic? Because maybe I'm misinterpreting what you're saying.
Someone said something about being pegged, and I said, and if that needs to happen, you don't truly want to be with me.
Okay.
Like I don't feel like you can respect me,
Okay.
my beliefs, and my masculinity if you're trying to do all that. We're not meant to be together.
No,
Okay.
that's not my
Wait,
thing.
what if
I don't like
they're
that.
heterosexual but not masculine?
What?
Who?
I'm saying someone. What if someone's like they're not very masculine, but they're heterosexual, but they find someone that they love and share.
Not
and
very
all that.
masculine, but you're
No,
heterosexual.
there's
Teach
still-
their own.
Wait,
Because you
wait.
saying that like pegging is like
That's
disrespecting
a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm saying my wife would be disrespecting me.
Right.
But
Oh, okay.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
the other people might be like closeted or do into some
Closeted.
abominations.
Oh my
And
God.
if
There's
other
some
people
people
like,
that's
Bible.
GSU would say, "Oh, that nigga just gay." That's GSU's position.
That's
no,
his
I'm not saying
position.
that. No, I'm saying other people have the right to practice whatever abominations they want to. I'm just saying it's not for all of us.
Domination.
Okay, I can't even talk now. This is crazy. Wow.
Hold on, Razor.
So
Hold on.
that- you
But Razor, let's be
conversation-
serious. Okay, look, no, hold on. Now that Soul's brought up, I wasn't on this track, but now
I
that
didn't
Soul's
want
brought it
to.
up.
Me too.
Hold on, but now that Soul's brought it up,
God damn
it seems like, and you don't have to answer these questions because this is your business, not anyone else's business. So we'll put that out there and make that very clear,
All
right?
right.
But like, you've said you're like bi, right? Nothing wrong with that. But and also that like you like to entertain your
I've been
feminine
to sex
side.
parties.
That's where the wigs come in, right? Like, is it
And I also
wrong
pay
for
my nails.
Solus
I
to
have, like,
assume,
I have it-
right, with that and maybe other mannerisms that may have been on display, that you're the bottom in that situation?
Oh, incredibly wrong.
Word.
In my real life, in my
This nigga's
out
boxing
day-to-day
everything.
life, walking out, I can dress however the fuck I want. The moment I have my partner in that bed, I am God.
Word. But they have Blake Griffin his shit, no rap, like real rap. I'm sorry.
So
So to be honest, hold up. I kind of get where he's coming from, because if you really pay attention to it, I don't like using the phrase like God, because I think that could be what is the word?
Okay, I'll say
blasphemous.
king. I'll say
But
king.
I would say that's kind of blasphemous. Yeah, king. I like that. And so that's the thing that I was going to get into. It's like I would say like MVCI is king, because if you really pay attention to like the way the verse series progresses, right? Each game like always expounded on like the previous game. The first game with X-Men vs Street Fighter, it didn't have any assists whatsoever, right? Then afterwards, when you get into Marvel vs Superheroes vs Street Fighter, was the first time they introduced assists, but they were very like limiting in the sense that like they were like a single ability by your other partner, and you couldn't move in the middle while doing it, and so then you most of the time couldn't combo, so that wasn't really a thing. Then MVC 1 came out, and they expanded the assist even more, that allowed it to be an active assist that you could even do in the air, that was completely independent, had its own button, right? And then, I'm sorry, then Marvel vs. Capcom 1 came out, and then their assists were like much more multi-hitting, so you could combo off of them, so then it like allowed you to progress, and actually they were like really an integral part of the game. Then after that, they introduced Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where now your assists are your character, but they're allowed to be done while completely free moving. You're not required to stand still at all. You can be jumping at someone in assist, you can jump past them, you can cross them up, you can air dash, you can be in flight and calling assists, so that it created this like much more like active battle with multiple people. Then MVC 3 was really just like a wannabe MVC 2, but just kind of more of an abomination. It really didn't expand very much. MVCI once again took them and expanded and made it to where each person is the assist, and you could like literally do it in the middle of a super jump and all this stuff. You could just tag and actively do stuff. So each one progressed, and that's why MVCI is so great, because it progressed in the same way. So that's why I say MVCI is king, just to follow his analogy.
I haven't played that one.
Oh, but I think the reason you need to at least eat your girl's butt a little bit is
God damn it!
You wouldn't let him. You wouldn't let him. You wouldn't let it happen.
I'm not moving
That
on.
nigga dribbled the clock out and he would not let it happen. He called time out at the last second.
You don't understand. You don't understand the type of nigga
That's
I am.
the one thing I don't
You
do,
think I need a pivot?
and I don't want to do it.
You think
The
I
most I
run
will do-
ISO around
I'll
here? I
nibble
don't need
the
a
pick.
outer ass, but
No
that's
I don't
about
need
it.
assist.
No
I don't need a
nothing.
pick. I'm ISO. Just give me the ball and let me hoop. Now, the reason you need to eat your girl's butt a little bit
No.
is because if you've seen the movie Temptation, honestly,
Oh,
one of
God.
Tyler Perry's better movies, second to A Family to Praise.
Family
Like,
reunion's better.
even if you get your like virgin girl, she eventually gonna like wonder, like, dang, is there something else out there? This can
Go
happen
find
to me.
Go
And
find
then,
it.
and yeah, she tried to, and then she went and got AIDS. You
Yeah,
don't
go
want your
find
wife
it.
to get AIDS, do you?
No, go
No,
fuck.
But
Fam,
either
fam,
that's why
like,
you-
like,
if that's how, look, bro, I believe in this. If you're just willing to go lower than me, you got it. Low man wins. Like, bro, you got it, G. I take it. I don't want it, bro. You can have that. I don't need it in my life, folks.
yeah, but she got AIDS and she was bringing it home to
You
her
ain't got-
husband.
you-
Yeah,
Wait, what?
see, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. This is I think like legitimately like real talk. This I think is where we run into a problem. Is I feel like there is like almost like some people who have like a kind of FOMO where they just are going to constantly be wanting to
Fear of
explore
missing
more and
out,
more and
yeah.
more. And then because of that, it doesn't matter how great you are, it doesn't matter how fulfilling you should be in that relationship. There's going to be this other toxic stuff. And this is also why I advocate against promiscuity and like premarital sex a lot, is because I believe that what it can do is it can create an appetite for something that your future husband or wife might not be able to fulfill, right? And so then
Those
now
who
at this
can't
point,
control that are weak.
you can call it weakness if you want to, but an appetite is an appetite. And so then, and sure, maybe somebody might decide to die on that cross and be like, hey, you know what? Even though I'm used to having my cervix tapped, then I'm gonna be with Shrimpy here, and that's all I'm gonna ever get. And they might decide I'm just gonna do that, while slightly, maybe silently missing this thing and then not being able to
And
get that.
that's why
right?
Bad Dragon exists. Get yourself a
even know
dildo
what-
today.
It's
I don't-
a it's
okay,
a complicated dildo. Yeah, go ahead, Fanatic.
Okay, so then my point
Complicated
being,
dildo.
as opposed to being in that situation, it's best if you have somebody who doesn't have an insane amount of partners, so then you guys develop and grow, and you're able to do all of those things. Because if she's a person who wants somebody to be tongue in her butthole on a regular basis, and it's like, you got with me, and I'm just not that person that's willing to do that, but because you have this appetite, because the first person who ran through you was like feeding you that, or you were feeding them that, and then now as a result of that, now I have to eat in order to satisfy you, it's like, I'd much rather just be with the person who doesn't have such an appetite, which is why fewer partners is preferential. That's why I advocate against a bunch of premarital sex, because you don't want to be married to somebody who's doing all they can to fulfill you, but they just don't have that freak in them to give you exactly what you need, and now you're just completely unsatisfied.
Yeah,
So
I just think
I
Tyler
was just
Perry.
wondering structurally, where is the male G spot?
Oh God, yo, sick niggas.
See, and that's one of them things. Look, and I think that's another perfect example of that.
When
I
you're having
think
sex, just a single finger is fine. You're good.
okay, but you can be married to a person and having a completely fulfilled
so
sex
this-
life and not
your
need
point makes
that.
sense.
But then if you've been in a relationship where that's been happening, and now you get married to somebody who doesn't feel particularly comfortable with that, and now you're craving something that you shouldn't have had. That's why I advocate. That's why I advocate against sexual promiscuity. Some conservative values are just right.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I like to say I can't let a girl go near my butt. Because like I said, if I like it and we don't end up married, then I'm ruined. I can never ask a woman to do that. I'll just have to go. I'll just have to go without.
You literally
Like,
can.
Have some pride in
Yeah.
yourself.
That's a
fam. Have some
legitimate
pride
thing.
in yourself.
No,
Ask.
for
You can
sure.
ask whoever you want.
No,
Like, so
you
long
can't.
as
You
you're
can't
not
ask it.
sexting.
Yeah, maybe if you ask the girls that like the ooh, but I can't ask a strong black woman.
Like I hate
like,
this
hey,
world
why
of
you
shame. I hate this
so
world of
over
shame
here
for
up there?
sex. I don't
Why
like
not,
this. It's
Bam?
fucking dumb.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Shame is good.
Wait, no,
Shame
shame,
serves
yeah,
a function.
I'm
Bring back
not
shame.
even conservative, but I'm right with Fanatic. We need to bring back shame.
Yeah, it serves a function. We just have to
They're doing
appropriately
bad
do it.
things. We're
Being
talking
about
ashamed because you
it.
have long
You
hair,
should
being
be able to
ashamed because
talk
you have a
with consenting
tattoo.
adult. You
Like,
should
come
be
on,
willing to
no.
talk with a consenting adult and say, "Hey, I'm into this,"
That
and
nigga
not
caught
be
it.
embarrassed about it. It's
Be
not. It
embarrassed
should
about
not
some
be
stuff.
that big of a deal.
I mean, if you're embarrassed, you should be. If that's how you feel internally about it, you should be embarrassed. Those are your own principles and morals. I don't think you should forsake them.
The only reason why people
Man,
feel
what?
embarrassed
Hun,
is
what?
because they're told to feel
That's
embarrassed
awful,
by their fucking
Solus.
stupid parents
What?
It's
No,
awful.
that's not awful.
Yeah, it's
If you
awful.
say to yourself, no, if you
what
say
did
to
you
yourself, I'm not the kind of person that wants to engage in this kind of sexual act. You say that's who I am. That's what I believe in. I don't want to do this for whatever
Yeah, that's
reason.
fine.
Right? If
That's
you would
it.
feel,
You're good.
if
That's not what
that's
I'm
how the
reacting
fuck
to.
you feel, then
That's
you should
not no
stick
no
to
no.
that.
That's not what I'm reacting to. So maybe that's what you meant. But like what I'm reacting to is like, hey, I have a sense of embarrassment for this thing, and I shouldn't bother examining it. I just like I have it, and so this feeling must be correct, right? That embarrassment could be because of shame that's internalized for a thing that's actually perfectly fine to do. But maybe you didn't mean that. Maybe that's what you're referring to. So in that case, I take back my words.
Yeah, well, because we didn't expound, and that's why we were saying that some shame is good. There's such thing as good shame. I think you should be rightfully ashamed if you got some crazy nonsense. I don't know what the thing would be. I don't want to get into any specifics because people get very whatever.
If you're into
Tongue
you're
and
into
buttholes,
getting
like it's
spanked,
just
whatever.
use that. Okay.
See, and it's hard for me because I it's hard.
Apparently, it's not. But go ahead.
I don't. It's rough. I
rough.
genuinely try my best not to project like how I feel into other people. So it's hard for me to like. I wouldn't want to say, hey, you should be ashamed that you want to tongue somebody's butthole. I do think though, like being 100%
No
real,
kink saying,
I
but no kink shame.
I do think that if you do want to do that, there must have been something you probably got exposed, early sexualized or exposed to pornography or something. Because I don't think being real. I'm just being being my conservative self. I don't think you develop a natural inclination to wanting to tongue someone's butthole without some sort of like sexual porn or something like encouraging you to do that. Some sort of
Or
cultural
somebody
Or
just
you're the
did
partner
it.
who asked
Maybe
you
somebody
want
just
to.
did it and it
I
worked.
got encouraged by Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates did it. Talked about it. Dude,
That's
it's
it.
crazy.
And
I
he's like a
love Kevin
cultural
Gates' music.
influencer. I'm gonna
I
tell
was
you,
like-
I don't think back in Jesus' day that people was just out there tonguing buttholes.
Well,
like that. I
they
don't think that
couldn't
was a
get
regular
themselves
thing.
clean.
Well,
I
they
don't know.
could,
I
but
don't, I don't know.
Okay, bam.
Yeah.
Bam. Let's just say there's no AIDS involved. Somebody goes for a prostate exam and busts harder than they've ever busted in their entire life.
Whoa, what's happening?
What do you do at that point? Like, how do you deal with that?
Hey,
On
How do
your
you
own.
rationalize it?
On
Yeah,
your own,
I
dog.
don't know,
I mean,
yeah,
that's for you.
You just gotta let that one go to the head. You gotta take that to the grave.
I mean, again, that's all up to you,
So
folks.
never be fulfilled throughout your entire life because you are too ashamed to be happy.
If
Yeah.
that's how
That
you
was-
know, but I'm saying if that's how you feel internally, you've examined it, you've thought about it. I don't want to be the kind of person that engages in this shit. Then yeah, feel that. That's fair for you to feel. Don't. I think it's honestly the other way around. Like, no, man, you don't want this. You don't like this about you, but you don't want to do it. No. Engage in this thing that you don't like. No, if they don't want to, they don't want to. That's their own shame.
Wait, hold on,
Because
hold
then
on.
otherwise you start developing self-hate. If you push yourself past your comfort zone into doing things that you don't genuinely want to do, it literally can bruise your ego.
We're talking about consent.
no,
No, we're talking about.
We're talking about with consent.
Yeah.
No,
I'm saying you
no,
went
but
for a
still-
prostate exam. You
Right.
didn't want to, but you
Mhm.
needed to, and
Yeah.
something happened, and it was the best experience you ever had in your entire
Right.
life.
I'm sorry. I don't think you guys are understanding me because I understood exactly what you were saying. I'm saying, but if a person has a reservation, right, like a shame and internal guilt about that and don't want to engage in that, pushing a person to just go ahead and engage in it anyway, past their own comfort, past their own senses of shame, I think is problematic.
But that's not what we were referring to. Huh?
I think that it's I think the important distinction is going to be between, and I know I'm going to use these words in a technical way that's not all the way correct, but like kink and fetish. And what I mean, the difference is something you like versus something you must have. When I say fetish, I mean something that like is like you must have to have some sort of fulfillment or satisfaction. Like I don't think it's healthy for a man who's wait, am I frozen? Can you hear me? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it's healthy for a man who deep down knows he's gay, like who came to a conclusion that they're gay, to go out and get married and form a family that he could come to one day regret and leave in like desperation. I think even though that's a hard thing to deal with, like I do think that a better society is one where that person eventually engages with that, just because there's so many other people involved and so many ways it could go wrong and hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
But if it's just a kink, if it's something like, I like this thing, but I can like exist and be fulfilled and have happiness without it, then I think that that's something that you can make a personal judgment on if you want to engage with it or not.
What about what if the reason why the person won't engage is because they're Christian?
Again, but I think the issue is the other people that can be harmed. Again, like if like I'm actually gay, but I'm gonna marry this woman, I'm gonna tell her I love her, I'm gonna pretend that I have Like this thing, like I think that I'm gonna have this child. Well, I don't think children is the problem necessarily. Well, unless you end up leaving your wife. Like if there's a chance that like, oh, one day this is gonna, I'm gonna hit the breaking point and like run away
You're
from
gonna
this.
break the
I just
marriage,
think,
yeah.
yeah, like I don't think that's a good risk to take. Even though
Uh,
all marriage is a risk, I don't think that like if you knew beforehand, like yeah, like if a man said that I knew I was gay before I got married, but I did it anyways to try to prove something, I would say that's a really disgusting thing.
if you did it to try to prove something, then yeah, I would say that'd be pretty problematic. But I would say that like I'm just saying this in contrast because what you were saying is you feel like if a person was gay and whatever, you would encourage them to just go ahead and interact with that. But I would make the statement if a person had like a homosexual inclination, but they were like a Bible believing Christian, then I would like say that I don't think it's healthy if that person engages in it, because then I think that's going to create that same thing that I was talking about that shame thing, where it's like once a person, if they have a certain reservation and a certain shame about something, and then they decide I'm going to go and get involved in that, like an internal thing, and then they decide to get involved in that thing, then them pushing that person past that thing, then they're going to be really, really hurt. Right. And I
Well,
feel
maybe
like
abstain. Is it like engaging in it? Or would you would you
there's
still
a
have a
fun little
disagreement
show on
if I
Netflix
said abstain from
actually.
everything?
This is
Because
So there's
my
a
thing
fun
is
little
just
show on
don't get married to
Netflix
someone.
called Grace and Frankie that has a thing about two married couples who the husbands marry each other after they divorce. So
Yeah, they've been
there's a
with their
fun
wives
stuff.
and they end
So
up leaving their wives for each
Yeah,
other.
hold
yeah, for
on.
each other.
Yeah,
fun
but hold
story.
on. Yeah, so that's what I was going to interject with
You should watch it.
before,
Awesome.
and that like there's a difference between a person being pushed, right, to do something that they're uncomfortable with, and comparing
By
that
religion.
to engaging with like their own internal feelings critically and deciding, okay, like I have this shame because I was told either by my parents, right, or my community, or even more insidious by a religion, that this thing is
insidious.
bad, right? You heard me. But that this thing is bad. And it's caused me a lot of emotional turmoil. And I don't want to feel that way, right? So I want to try to engage with this. It's different than a person like other people saying, hey, like I know you are uncomfortable with this, right, for whatever reason, but you need to do this, right, or like you should do this, or like we're just like peer pressuring you to do this. I think
Yeah.
that's bad. I think that's bad. But if you're like engaging with shame, and you're like, I don't want to have this shame over me for something that's consensual, obviously, right? Well, then a person should be able to do that. Like, do you disagree with that statement?
I
Yeah, I
understood
do.
I understood that that's what you were saying, and that's what I was pushing back against. And I'll give you a personal example. Okay, I grew up with Dare, right? Dare and Sane, like those programs, like in elementary and stuff like that, where like marijuana and stuff was crazily demonized. On top of like having some drug usage, like from family members and
Well,
stuff
now
like
we're
that.
the highest
Be-
drug
be-
users ever.
right. Well, because of all of those things, it made
The
me
highest.
right. Because of those things, it made me feel like rather uncomfortable with like drug usage of any kind. With that, I've definitely smoked marijuana, okay? And when I tell you I enjoy the absolute freak out of it, very, very, very much. Music and
Yes.
marijuana go together in a way that I genuinely can't express in words. I genuinely don't have the words to describe it. And I
Okay.
love me some music, okay? So it's something that I very, very
Yeah,
much
you're like,
love. However, anytime if I engage with marijuana, it really does negatively impact my psyche because I feel a great sense of shame for it. So because of that, and I've never been able to rid myself of that. So because of that, I would not encourage myself, oh man, you should just go ahead and just start smoking weed on a regular basis. Because in doing so, then I start developing like low self-esteem, low self-worth, and these inner thoughts of like shame and so on and so forth. And because of that, I've recognized pushing myself past my comfort zone, pushing myself past the things that I value has a detrimental impact on my outlook on myself. And I would say for any person, pushing themselves past the things that they believe are right or past their inhibitions can have really negative impacts on themselves. What I would encourage you to do instead would be first to wrestle with and rid yourself of those inhibitions if it's something that's possible to do, and then engage with said thing. But if you're engaging with said thing while those inhibitions are present, I'm guaranteeing it will have a negative, detrimental impact on your self worth.
Yeah, so hold on. That's what you're saying. Let me make sure I have it right. You're saying wrestle with those inhibitions, deal with that first, and then engage, if you want, engage in the activity. Is that what you just said?
If you
Okay.
can rid yourself of the
If you
inhibitions,
can,
yes.
okay, then I can sign on to that. Then I think we're on the same page. Um, because
course,
like
I'm
I was
always
gonna
right.
respond like like what if like a family member, your mother or your father, right, said like, well, music is for pussies, right? Like that's what
It'll
like
get
not
you,
a
son.
real man doesn't sing or dance or anything like that. Like that seems a little gay to me, and then but you discovered at the young age that you really want to engage with music that made you happy as it does now.
Swing dancing is
Like
actually
I
fun
would say
too.
that, well, in this situation, you do have like internalized shame, but you need to, again, examine it critically. Is this something that actually aligns with my morals? Like, if that shame aligns with your like internal sense of morals, then okay, that's fine, right? Because there are things like I would be ashamed of doing, right? Like I wouldn't want to like embarrass my mother and father in some way, right? But that's fine. It matches my internal my compass. But if you're basically using someone else's compass, right? And that tells you, well, this should be shameful. That's something you should deal with, right? And like examine it. If this doesn't line up with your moral um understanding of the world, well then get rid of that.
But I
Right.
but I don't think like I think that works good in I like as a in theory, but in practice, I feel like you're always going to come into a confliction there. Like like even if you went through your moral compass and you came to like what, this is something I could be okay with, but maybe it is like this is something that would embarrass my parents. Like this is something that
There can be
they wouldn't get.
conflicts, but that's fair.
Like
I hear
yeah,
you. I hear you on that one. There
and
can be
and
conflicts.
I don't think that you're necessarily going to always unpack everything and come to a clean conclusion for the things that you do.
That's
Oh, for
part
Yeah.
of the
sure.
being a
Historic,
human. Yeah.
Yes, and
historically
what
speaking, King Frederick William had a gay son who was into the arts, into studying, into philosophy, the whole deal. He beat the shit out of his son, and eventually his father ended up dying and ended up doing what he was going to do. He hindered his son's life and made him probably not the best person he could have been based on what was impressed upon him.
Yeah.
Like these things shouldn't really be the case. We impress these things on others based on our own ideologies, not
Well, this parent's job is to impress things on their children. Now, every parent doesn't do a good job of it, and we
they can
can
be
question other
wrong.
people's morals. Yeah, people
they
can be
can be.
wrong, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean a parent shouldn't impress on their
I'm
children.
guessing the king. I'm guessing the king not only was some sort of like religious.
He was just
Oh,
hyper masculine.
no,
That
listen,
was
hyper
the
Razor,
predominant function.
I don't know where people get this lie from, but I promise you, like the
The fact that
heteronormative
I'm always seeing.
no,
I
no,
just
no, no. The heteronormative like view or orientation of society is not based in religion. You'll find in most, I'm sorry, yeah, you'll find in secular societies the same aversion towards homosexuality, right? Chinese people are not particularly religious. Neither are Japanese people. Yet they're still pretty. They've been really intolerant of homosexuality throughout like history. It's not
Yeah,
because of religion. Now, religion also happens to be typically like very heteronormative, but that's because like religion is often a reflection of some of the cultural like the culture and society. So then yeah, you're going to find that they're also going to be pretty heteronormative. It's not religion that's at fault. It's people that are at fault because people like tend to like things that are normal, like that are like
In
typically
those
occurring.
societies, they raise
Uh,
effeminate men to do what women
ah.
would do because of the appetites of those societies.
Are you talking
Wait,
about
but
like
Based
the
not in
on,
the
Roman people? Are you
majority.
talking about like the
I sorry,
Romans?
I
I'm
do
saying
want
in
to.
Asia,
I
well,
do.
Asia.
I
great part
do
of
want to
Asia.
examine this because I think that's interesting, and I think Fanatic's wrong. But
wrong.
before then, guys, consider supporting the channel. We've already like blown past our time here. So if you're out there, support this channel. If you enjoyed this conversation, this is not the planned conversation. I'll have to save that topic for later.
Absolutely.
Next
Um,
time on Dragon Ball Z.
next time. It's my
My
man.
dude.
You gotta update it next time on Dragon Ball Super.
It's, my man Solus is goddamn priceless, right? Like, yeah, like, and if you want more of a guy like Solus, consider supporting the channel. Subs to the channel, give bits or give subs. If you haven't done so yet, consider helping us out, because like that's the only way I can keep the lights on here. So consider doing that for this community. We give an outro to all of these individuals. I want to hold them up. Though I do at some point I gotta yell at Fanatic. It was all peace before, but now we got a problem. But anyway, Mordecai, thank you for being here, friend. This was a lot of fun.
Hey, I told you we were gonna make it happen today. I was gonna be here for this, and I said Fanatic also needs to be here, and I knew this would work out. I am so glad to spend time with these intelligent individuals speaking on topics that we all can relate to in one way or another. You can find me, as always, Lethy Waterkai on all platforms. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, thank you. Razor, I appreciate you for stopping by. I really appreciate your perspective here. It became useful, really, actually, in our conversation. So thanks for being here, friend. I've missed you.
Yeah, I've been either been busy or overly tired because work is consistent with what I have, and loads get like fucking too large and everything. Pause. I already know you're gonna say it. My work is.
Oh my god! I'm definitely about to pause that.
I know you were. But yeah, as I've said a couple of times before, I just recently got affiliate here on Twitch. I have been streaming myself. Help me get at least to 10 subs, and I'll pick up a new wig. And help me reach more, get more followers, spread my shit around. Razor Sharp G here on Twitch, Razor Sharp G 96 on Twitter or X, before it dies. I have a couple of other things, but I'll eventually get a whole list going. A whole link tree or whatever. I'll figure it out.
Thank you.
I play games.
Next, check out Razor's channel. We've rated him quite a few times. Let's go to our man Bam. Thank you. You came in late, but you were high impact as always. I really do appreciate your
actually here at
participation.
like 8. I was in the under room. You just didn't notice me.
You were here at 8? No, you weren't.
Yeah. Yeah, I
He was
promise.
chill- you know, he was down there in the room before.
At 8 p.m. Eastern, you were
Probably
here.
maybe like 8:07. Yeah, like
I don't know when
yeah.
I messaged that he was in the waiting room, but he had been here for a while when I said that.
Yeah, I was literally just sitting down in the back.
Then why were you just sitting down? Why didn't you join in?
I was in here.
But no.
Here.
Why didn't you if you were waiting, then why didn't you just message me?
I don't know. I thought you noticed me, or I thought you were like, I'm not bringing this nigga in. The next topic. I didn't know.
I ain't Fanatic. Fanatic would have done that to you.
Because I thought on StreamYard, I thought you could see everything down. I thought you could see. When
I can. And I noticed you later on, but I didn't notice you before. Just
and I forgot to say one.
You were invited. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot to say one thing. Hail Satan. There, we're done.
Okay. Yeah, you were
this fucking guy.
You were invited, Bam. Like what?
I just knew you was gonna see me when you see me.
Okay.
Or you did see me and you were like, no, I'll wait for the next topic. Or I thought, honest to goodness, the third thing I thought, I was like, okay, Fanatic came in and he said, I'm only here as long as Bam's not here. So and you were like,
well, damn,
that was a real possibility.
Hey,
so
that's a possibility.
Interrupted. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do my thing. But no.
Is that an option? Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say this. Say it. We'll see what happens.
Hey, it's all right. This is actually weirdly, maybe it's because of the topic, but this was strange that me and Fanatic didn't have any major disagreements tonight. We actually agreed twice. I don't know what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I feel like
I caught it tonight.
Another reason to end this quickly, right?
And reasonably.
We need to
I disagree because we did disagree, and now you're getting it right. No, I'm kidding.
But no, I always love being here. Hopefully, one of my goals is gonna be to reach out to other Black people I know, because I really think what you do is dope. I think you have a dope platform, but I think we need more guests. We need more options. We need more Black women. Contrary to what some niggas feel about that. But I think we can have one of the coolest spaces on Twitch. Where
Agreed. Agreed. And I appreciate the help. And that's to anyone, we need more Black faces here. I'm only in contact with so many. All right, it's why we didn't have ABE for well, one of the reasons why we didn't have ABE for so many weeks. Just because people's schedules are changing, life is happening. Some people are growing and doing some big things, and we appreciate that, we love that, and we support that. But to keep this particular platform going, we need some more black faces, right? And especially ones that disagree with me, right? I mean, I need more people to intellectually dominate. I mean, I've already conquered Bam and Fanatic, so like I need more territory, right, to claim for myself. So consider helping us out that way if you have people in mind. Send them my way. Next we have Solus. Solus, dude, like God, I love you so much. You're great. You add a lot to these conversations. And I don't know, you're unique. So thanks, buddy. You're muted. I'm assuming you were like, I love you too. But okay.
No, I said I appreciate that. As always, I like to thank my teammates and the coaching staff, everybody involved. I learned a lot of things about the guys in the locker room today. You know what I'm saying? Fanatic came in and he gave his usual conservative takes. And you kind of need that. You know what I'm saying? It serves as a foundation for other people to feed off of. Razor's definitely a bottom in the closet, which I didn't even know that was a thing. He hasn't really unlocked this side of himself yet. Bam's a fucking minute. Bam got the nasty orphan. Fuck Razor for a second. Bam is disgusting. All right, Bam
Can't afford it.
is it this? No, this nigga is a low key train conductor, and he said it with pride, with his whole chest out.
I'll take the conductor. I mean, I'll take that. I might organize.
Look, gang. Despite what my brothers in the South may say, that is not what our ancestors died for, and y'all can do better. But I appreciate being here as always. These conversations are they're always fun, and I genuinely do appreciate that there's a space like once a week that I can just come chop it up and talk to different Black ideologies. I genuinely do appreciate that.
Hey, I got Empty Mirrors
We
on
need
repeat
this.
when we get some new music.
I'm like 5 songs into a 12-song album right now. I was just talking to the homie about that. I'm working. It's just that like this is the first time I've ever been like sit down and make music and don't just like rap or like actually try to tell a cohesive story and shit. So it's like it feels weird to not be able to like drop consistently, but I'm making an album. So it's soon before the end of the year. I promise you I'll have an album.
So I'll tell you, my advice would be keep making those songs, and you'll figure out which ones fit in the album and which ones will be on the chopping block for later that you can maybe rework them or go into another album. Don't cut yourself off just because it doesn't work contiguously with what you're doing.
We want a mixtape every week like Gucci Mane.
Bro,
Yeah, no, we don't need that.
We talk about stories. I'm beginning to write some shit.
If I rapped about ignorant shit, I promise you I have a mixtape every other day. It's 2020. Oh my god, just off the shit that happened this year alone.
Kendrick, bro, Kendrick showed you that you can just do it.
Gotta have a new song off of this.
You can just show niggas you can do it.
Just pop out and show niggas one time.
Just one time. Just say like this is nonsense. I don't even do this for real. Get a pen, some practice, and then
Fanatic. Thanks so much. This was a lot of fun. Hey, wait, hold on. I think a miracle happened. All right, like I said at the start, right? With the power of Christ, everything is possible. And so today, you managed not to really pop off. We're gonna ignore that little friction you had with Waterkai, right? It was only tiny. It was tiny. Right? No bangs.
It was amicable. It was amicable.
Right? It was amicable. Amicable love. It was love. It was happening there. Right? But like
that Dragon Ball Z reference would have gotten him.
This would have this worked out really well, I think. Right? And so I'm really happy that you're here to experience that with us. So thanks, buddy.
Yeah, listen, I'm also particularly happy. I think it was a great conversation. There might even be some content I can take from some of this, which is actually like an extreme rarity because normally niggas are just talking over everybody and just, just being really, really, really frustrating. I did feel like there was like almost no pop offs. There was one minor pop off, but it was on Lethe. So then I'm not going to be actually full of rage because everybody knows I like that nigga. He's a real one. And I do think conservative opinions are absolutely important. They're kind of what like helped form society. They're why we are able to function as a society. If we went far, far, far too liberal, I feel like, things go a little bit nuts. And then next thing you know, you'll have, kink at pride and children like watching people with suits on and you know what I mean? Like with muzzles on in front of like 5-year-old children, and I don't know, a little kid named Desmond being at a nightclub with people putting dollars on his pocket as he's twerking and stuff, and drag queen story hour and all the other crazy stuff that be happening with the leftists. So I do feel like we'd have to have some conservative values while allowing people to have the freedom to live life as long as they're not being harmful.
My G got the whole Brita.
Wait.
Let Fanatic nigga, don't focus and fuck you. Let talk Fanatics talk.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So let me just finish. So anyway, so with that being said, I did learn a lot about everybody today, and I think that's one of the beauty of these kinds of conversations. We get to see like kind of the inner workings of people, where we're not like really just kind of focusing with this topic here, but more so just kind of what drives us internally. I didn't know that Bam would like to spit in people's butthole. That was a brand new thing for me, right? And so it's like I don't know that I needed to know it, right? I didn't know. I would have never known that Razor was a power bottom. Where would I figure that out from? You know, what I mean?
a top.
But we're just learning. We're learning everything.
My face hurts.
I'm trolling. But I mean, I always knew from the very beginning. I knew that Prime was a filthy leftist degenerate. So I think I didn't learn anything new.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm sorry, Razor's a power bottom, and now gonna be like a running. It's a running gag now. I'm never gonna let you live bastard. Like I'm like, remember when Razor said he was a power bottom? Like in 6 months, it'll be true. Like,
Yeah, they're gonna be
so far from it. And like everybody's gonna be like, Razor did say that. We was there. He said that. I promise. I'm just that's the truth. That's the only truth I'm speaking now.
No, for sure. By the way, that woman didn't make up that degree. We were just spreading misinformation. Someone in my chat said, let's just start spreading that. And I was like, let me go with that. She didn't make up that degree. I had to let y'all know, because I really don't want to be the source of misinformation, only with y'all. But everybody else can catch that. I'm going to say that publicly.
My way of getting around this is what I tell niggas, I tell my homies this. When I tell a story about whatever happened, I'm going to tell the funniest version of it in my narrative, okay? Now, in reality, it could have went however it went, right? Razor didn't, but in my narrative, when I tell a funny version of the story, that's exactly what happened.
He did, because he said it.
Exactly.
100%. Real talk. I appreciate you guys. It was a great conversation. I haven't had a good conversation with Bam, I feel like, in 3 years. And so that was actually like super surprising. We can maybe keep that energy going. Yeah, it was great. And what I want to do is I'm gonna go ahead and brush up on Dragon Ball Z so I can come back and cook y'all niggas and make sure that it's crystal clear. Or find that Gyazo, because I wrote that Gyazo when it was shortened, and the version of Dragon Ball that I watched was Dragon Ball Kai. Dragon Ball is terrible, and Kai doesn't save it. The animation doesn't make it into a better anime. It's still pretty bad.
The story still sticks. The story is still amazing.
There ain't no
you
story.
Actually listen to the story, not
the
just
story
the
is the thing that I told y'all. All right, I love you guys. It's been a great conversation, and then we can we can resume this at another time. Oh, by the way, I put out some songs. I put out 2 songs recently, and man, I've been like struggling. Sorry, I'm gonna wrap up real quick. Look, I realize as an artist that what ends up happening is I end up doing this thing where I'm like pearl clutching, where I don't know if that's maybe the phrase, that's the phrase that I'm using right now, where what I do is I make a song and I'm like so in love with the song and I feel like it's my greatest work ever. And then I become very protective of it. And it's like, I don't have the right means to release it and to make sure that it's like perfect and so on and so forth. And so then I don't end up doing anything with it and I hold on to it forever. And then like, it's just a thing that I own. And I've done that with God knows how many different songs. I can like name literally 10 right now of like, this is my greatest song and I don't know that I'll ever make another better song. So I don't want to release it yet. And so I've decided over this time, I just literally came back from my friend's funeral today, and one of the messages that I got from that funeral was the idea that we have to live now. Whatever you want to do, do it now. It's not about waiting, because then I don't want to be a person that like dies later on, and I'm sitting there like with all of these wonderful works that I just never released because they weren't perfect enough, or because I didn't think I was going to get the attention that I wanted from them. So I will be releasing more music soon. I already do have a song out on my SoundCloud right now. It's because it's part of my mixtape, because I can't actually really release it because I used vocals or something else. But on my SoundCloud, Mr. Fanatic, Bandcamp, Mr. Fanatic. You can find all my old like release stuff on Spotify under the name Fanatic. And I like record myself producing some of these songs. They are what I think my latest work is my greatest work, to be 100% real with you. But I'm going to surpass that one day too, so I don't need to be like holding on to it and I got to just release this stuff. So you can be on the lookout for me to release a whole bunch more music like very, very, very soon on top of the songs that I've already just recently put out. Check those things out. I love feedback, and that's that.
Okay. We're gonna raid our friend Razor Sharp Gaming. He said he was going to explain the intricacies of being a power bottom. We appreciate it. Let's enrich ourselves with this new knowledge. Bye.
W stream.